And at this time, we turn you over to our colleagues in PTV Baguio Station for what's up lately in the Cordilleras. Hala?
Naimag-arabi Pilipinas, nakasagana nagiti agarup sa nga 15,000 a personnel ti Department of Education nga agserbi iti eleksyon. Upay kasta, nanayunan pa nagiti manurusuro ang nagsanod ka sa Electoral Board, ijay abra. Kinuna ni DepEdCa Regional Director Estela Carino dumanan iti 102 ang manurusuro ijay abra tinagsanod nga agserbika sa Electoral Board iti October 30, 2023 barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. Inaklon na aga po iti sitwasyon ijay abra saan nalapdan wenno malapdan dagiti DepEd personnel nga agsansanod. Nupay kasta saan met makaswan dagiti DepEd personnel nga agsanod nga agserbi iti mismo nga aldaw ti eleksyon. Gapo iti sitwasyon ijay abra 91 a pulis ti sumakat kadagiti manursuro. 55 ti agserbi ka Special Electoral Board members bayat nga standby force dagiti nabatbati at 36.
But accordingly, there are still those who are wanting to withdraw because of course, no, they have to, honestly, they have to take care of their safety too.
Iti na dumapay adamag, ribo-ribo manan a K-pop fans dinaunong ken nagragragsak iti naangay a K-pop festival iti Baguio City. Uray no nagtultuloy latna tinapigsa suporta dagiti K-pop fans. Pinasutan daytoy dagiti local artists ang nagsala iti na duma-duma a K-pop songs. Sigun ti organizer a grup sa nga ribo a K-pop fans ti nakipaset a nakisala ken kanta iti event. Namnamaandang agtultuloy pay ti kastoy nga event. Dagiti damdamag manipod dito'y PTV Cordillera, siyak ni alas sunduan, naimbag, arabi.
And that is a wrap for tonight. We look forward to seeing you at the same time, same TV channel for tomorrow's late newsbreakers. And always keep in mind to always stay informed, keep fit, get smart, be a fuse, and catch the news right here. This is William Theo wishing you a restful evening ahead.
Tatlong bagong programang sumasalamin sa kwento ng Pilipino. Mapapanood na sa inyong People's Television.
Mr. President, what do you do every day? Maraming bagay naman talaga na ginagawa ng isang Pangulo na hindi alam ng publiko. Kaya dito ko na lang sasagutin sa vlog yung katanungan na yan.
The Philippine President, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., like you've never seen him before on BBM Vlog.
Madami na ako nakitang picture ng beach at iba pang lugar sa Pilipinas. Pero ngayon ko lang talaga masasabi. Ang ganda pala talaga ng Pinas, no?
Tunghayan ang mga nakakaantig na istorya ng buhay ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino sa On the Ground.
Ang oras ng pagpapatrol ko sa dagat, alas 8 ng gabi.
10 taong gulang pa lamang ako nang matuto akong magpayot.
Ako pala si Alvin Cristobal. Isa po akong mandarames.
At sumabay sa pagbuo ng mga bagong pangarap, katuwang ang mga programa ng pamahalaan para sa isang bagong Pilipinas.
Tinupad niyo po yung pangarap namin. Na ang pangarap po namin ay pangarap niyo rin po pala para sa aming mga mahihirap.
BBM Vlog, On the Ground, Bagong Pilipinas. Mapapanood na dito lang sa PTV, ang pambansang TV. Disaster Watch. Alamin ang Modified Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal System para sa mga paparating na bagyo. Signal number 1. Isa itong tropical depression na nagtataglay ng bahagyang lakas ng hangin at tatama sa loob ng 1.5 araw. Posible itong makadulot ng pinsala. Walang pasok ang mga bata sa preschool. Signal number 2. Ito ay tinatawag na tropical storm na may dalang katamtamang lakas ng hangin at posibleng tumama sa loob ng 24 oras. Pinapayuhan ng lahat na isecure ang kanilang mga bahay at kagamitan at wag na munang maglakbay. Wala ring pasok ang mga mag-aaral mula sa preschool hanggang high school. Signal number 3. Ito ay severe tropical storm na posibleng tumama sa loob ng 18 oras. Pinapayuhan ang mga residente na lumikas sa mabababang lugar, baybayin at tabing ilog at maghanda sa pagkawala ng kuryente at komunikasyon. Walang pasok sa lahat ng antas ng edukasyon. Signal number 4. Ito ay isang ganap na typhoon na maaaring tumama sa loob ng 12 oras at nagtataglay ng napakalakas na hangin. Dapat manatili muna sa bahay at lumikas mula sa mga mapanganib na lugar. Signal number 5. Ito ay isang super typhoon na nagtataglay ng napakalakas na hangin at posibleng magdulot ng malawakang pinsala. Manatili sa loob ng matibay na gusali at mag-monitor sa mga weather update para sa inyong kaligtasan. Sa panahon ng bagyo, dapat laging listo.
Susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Mga balitang pinag-uusapan, mga storyang may kinalaman sa buhay ng bawat mamamayan. Yan ang mga kwentong ating ihimayin upang higit na maintindihan ng ating mga kababayan ang mga nangyayari sa ating lipunan. Kasama ang mga tagapagbalita ng pambansang telebisyon, ako po si Maan Macapagal, on assignment. Ang tupad ay Safety Net program ng Department of Labor and Employment o DOLE para sa mga Pilipinong manggagawa na sa informal sector at mga kababayan nating nawalan o naapektuhan ng kabuhayan. Patuloy itong pinapatupad ng ating pamahalaan bilang tulong sa mga kababayan nating bumabangon mula sa epekto ng pandemya at sa mga kalamidad na nagdaan. Ang iba't ibang storya ng pakikipagsapalaran ng ating mga kababayan at kung paano nakatutulong ang tupad program ng gobyerno, ihahatid sa atin ni Naomi Tiburcio. Naomi, una nating narinig yung tupad program lalo na nung kasagsagan ng pandemya at itinutuloy lang ng ating gobyerno ngayon. Paano naiiba itong tupad program sa mga ayudang o programa ng pamahalaan na ibinibigay sa ating mga kapuspalad na kababayan?
Ang pinakaiba ng tupad doon sa iba pang targeted assistance ng gobyerno ay hindi siya direktang dole out. Doon sa ating mga kababayan, ito ay may kapalit na pagtatrabaho o pansamantalang employment o emergency employment. So for a span of 10 to 90 days ay yung mapipiling mga eligible workers ay magtatrabaho sa loob ng kanilang community. At pagdatapos ito ay mabibigyan sila ng financial assistance. Malaking tulong ito lalo na doon sa mga nawalan ng trabaho, lalo na nitong pandemya at sa iba pang mga krisis sa nagdaan.
Paano yung mga senior citizen natin? Dahil alam mo naman na hindi na sila nabibigyan ng trabaho. At paano makatutulong yung tupad program sa employment situation ng ating bansa?
Ang maganda sa tupad ay inclusive siya, pati doon sa mga senior citizen ay maaring mabigyan ng temporary work through tupad. Kailangan lang nila ng fit to work, kumbaga, na pwede silang makapagtrabaho sa kabila ng kanilang edad. At makakatulong to sa employment rate ng ating bansa dahil pansamantala nga ay nakakapagtrabaho yung mga Pilipino. At pag natanggap nila itong financial assistance na ito, makakatulong ito na makahanap sila ng mas long-term work or kung gusto nilang magsimula ng kanilang sariling negosyo. At yan nga ay may mga nakausap tayo ng mga natulungan ng tupad program. Tunghayan sa aking on assignment.
Tila napangalisa ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas nang tumama ang pandemya. Nagsara ang mga negosyo, naapektuhan ang kalakalan,
at nawala ang libo-libong trabaho ng mga Pilipino. At noong April 2020, umabot sa pinakamataas na level na 17.7% ang unemployment rate dahil sa COVID-19 pandemic, katumbas sa mahigit 7 milyong Pilipino na walang trabaho. Dahil dito, ipinakilala ng gobyerno ang mga social protection programs na layong tulungan ang pinaka-naghihirap na mga Pilipino, tulad ng Social Amelioration Program at Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation ng DSWD, at TUPAD o Tulong Panghanap Buhay sa ating disadvantaged at displaced workers ng DOLE. Pero ang kinaibahan ng TUPAD sa ibang targeted assistance, imbis na direktang financial assistance, ito ay may kalakip na pansamantalang trabaho sa mga panahong may krisis. Pasok dito ang underemployed o nagtatrabaho lang ng part-time. Ganon din ang self-employed. Para ito sa 18 years old pataas at kahit mga senior citizen na kaya pang magtrabaho. Ilan sa trabaho na maaaring pasukin ng TUPAD beneficiaries ay tree planting, reforestation, maintenance at repairs sa kanilang komunidad at marami pang iba.
Ito po ay hindi dole out, no? Bagamat ang pangalan ng aming departamento ay DOLE, hindi po ito dole out. Pinagtatrabahuhan po ito at pinaghihirapan ng ating mga benepisyaryo na napakaganda namang prinsipyo kasi nang sa ganon ay maipakita na anumang ipagkakaloob sa kanila na halaga, pinapagtrabahuhan nila.
Pero lingid sa kaalaman ng karamihan, ang TUPAD hindi lang nagsimula nitong pandemya. Ayon sa kagawaran, taong 2009 nang tumama ang global financial crisis ay meron ng Cash for Work program ang DOLE na nooy tinawag na Adjustment Measures Program. Pero nitong pandemya lamang nang sumipa ang pangangailangan sa Cash for Work program nang mawala ng trabaho ang milyon-milyong Pilipino na kalaunan ay tinawag na TUPAD. Mula noon, tumaas ang natulungan ng TUPAD mula 200,000 noong 2018 sa halos 4 na milyon noong 2021. Kung saan, umabot sa halos 20 milyong piso ang naipamahaging tulong. Bukod sa pandemya, ginagamit din ng TUPAD bilang tulong sa tuwing may tumatamang kalamidad at iba pang krisis.
Marami na kasi milyon-milyon nang natulungan itong programa na ito. Sinasabi nila na napakalaki at napakahalagang tulong ang naipagkaloob ng programa sapagkat during the time na nangangailangan sila, naririto merong ikangay nakahanda o nakaumang na programa to more or less alleviate yung kanilang sitwasyon. So, napakahalaga at hanggang ngayon sa aming mga dinaraanan na pakikipag-ugnayan sa ating mga tinatawag na accredited partners.
Isa si Emma Joy mula sa San Juan City sa regular na nakatatanggap ng tulong mula sa TUPAD. Kwento niya sa on-assignment, naging napakalaking dagok ng pandemya sa pagtataguyod niya sa kanyang 4 na anak.
Sobrang hirap na hirap po kami nun kasi pati yung asawa ko nawalan po ng trabaho. Ano po kasi siya, janitor po siya sa school. Nagsara po ang school. Tapos ako po sa spa, nagsara rin po ang spa. Kaya po lubog na lubog po kami talaga. Hirap na hirap po kami nung time ng pandemic.
Pero magpasa hanggang ngayon, aminado si Emma na hindi pa sila tuluyang nakababangon sa epekto ng pandemya. Lalo't panibagong pagsubok ang kanilang kinakaharap, ang pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin. Dahil dito, pinagkakasya na lamang ni Emma ang 200 piso maghapon para sa pangangailangan ng kanyang pamilya.
Noon po kasi, nabibili po namin yung gusto ng mga anak namin, nabibigay namin yung gusto ng mga bata, ipapasyal, may mga extra po kami, may mga stock po kami pagkain. Ngayon po, hirap na hirap ka po makapag-stock ng pagkain, makapag-grocery, hirap na hirap ka rin po mailabas yung mga bata. Sobrang hirap po. Ang layo po nung different nung talagang may trabaho kaming dalawa. Kaysa compare po ngayon.
Kaya't laking pasalamat ni Emma nang mapabilang sa tupad program ng San Juan City.
Agad-agad ko pong tinanggap na oportunidad kasi po malaking bagay po sa amin na makakuha ng tupad kasi sa hirap po ng buhay. Minsan po, pinipili lang po yung talagang binibigyan, yung talagang hirap na hirap sa buhay. Kaya malaking bagay po sa amin na napipili po kami.
Pagwawali sa mga eskinita at paglilinis ng pampublikong palikuran ang nakatoka kay Emma.
Bakit ka po mahihiya? Marangal po na trabaho yun. Saka po, sa hirap po ng buhay ngayon, sir, kailangan natin lahat pasukin para lang makakain sa isang araw.
Minimum wage o halos 6,000 piso ang kinikita ni Emma sa 10 araw na pagtatrabaho sa ilalim ng tupad program. Malaking bagay na ito para sa isang ina na nag-aalaga ng kanyang bunsong sanggol. Pero ang pangarap ni Emma ay ang balang araw makabalik sa permanenteng pagtatrabaho.
Para hindi na talaga umasa sa tupad. Full time na po kami magtrabaho. Yung talagang regular na po para hindi na rin po kami umaasa sa tupad. Kasi mas maganda pong may talagang trabaho na mapapasukan para po hindi na talaga totaling hirap na hirap po sa buhay. Para iba naman po yung kinabang, yung talagang mas deserve pa po nila yung tupad na pinamimigay po nila.
Susunod sa On Assignment.
Di tulad noong pandemya, sa Marikina City, dama na ang pagbaba ng bilang ng mga benepisyaryo ng tupad.
Hindi ibig sabihin mas madaming beneficiary ay mas maganda, kundi kung mas kaunti ito, ay ibig sabihin mas gumaganda yung ating ekonomiya. Tulad nga ng ang objective talaga is economic resiliency.
Saan mapapanood ang PTV?
Sa bawat sulok ng Pilipinas, reaching millions of Filipinos across the country through the power of terrestrial TV.
Abot na abot namin ang mga Pilipino para sa tapat na balita at impormasyon.
Dito'y Cordillera, gan Intero ang Luzon. Da kami, timapang namnamaan.
Sa aton sa Visayas, wala kami mapugong sa pagpaabot sa unsang hitabo.
Dini sa saad ng yuta, Mindanao, PTV, pirmi maminaw para sa paghatod sa balita.
Broadcasting in Luzon, PTV4 Manila, PTV8 Cordillera, PTV4 Naga, and PTV4 Palawan. In the Visayas, PTV11 Cebu, PTV10 Dumaguete, PTV2 Guimaras, PTV8 Tacloban, and PTV12 Calbayog. And in the heart of Mindanao, PTV11 Davao City, PTV8 Cotabato, PTV7 Zamboanga, PTV11 Sibugay, PTV11 Pagadian, PTV48 Davao del Norte, and PTV8 Agusan del Sur. PTV Regional Network, buong katapatang naghahatid ng balitang maaasahan para sa inyong pambansang TV.
Sa Marikina City naman, nakilala namin si Roslyn Florendo, 51 taong gulang at ina sa 9 na anak. Maagang nagsisimula ang araw niya. Pagkatapos magluto at maghatid ng kanyang mga anak sa eskwela, pasado alas 7 ng umaga. Magsisimula na siya sa paglilinis.
Pagdating ng 7:30, pupunta na ako dun sa area namin. Tapos antayan po kami, pag andun na kompleto, 8 o'clock, nagsisimula na po kaming magwalis ng kanya-kanyang area po. Tapos pagkatapos noon, break time, uuwi, kakain po, tapos balik uli ng 1 o'clock, then 5 o'clock naman po. Tapos lahat po ng nalinis, pag-iipon-ipunin, kukunin naman ngayon po ni barangay para hakutin lahat po ng naipon na halat.
Nagtagal ng 10 araw ang pagtatrabaho ni Roslyn sa ilalim ng tupad program sa Marikina City bago nakatanggap ng financial assistance na nagkakahalaga ng 6,000 piso. Malaking tulong ito sa kanya dahil wala siyang permanenteng trabaho, lalo na noong pandemic. Matapos nito ay dumaan pa ang pinakamahirap na pagsubok sa kanyang buhay.
Kasi na-quarantine kami noon na halos isang buwan ako sa sa Marikina facility, sa halos isang buwan po ako doon, tapos namatay pa yung kapatid ko habang nasa facility po ako ng Marikina Hotel. Hindi naman po siya dahil sa COVID na atake. Napakahirap po nun. Yun yung panahon na yun, walang trabaho, hindi ka makagalaw kasi nandun ka nga sa sitwasyon na ganun. Pero sabi nga, tuloy lang ang buhay.
Nung namatay po yung kapatid niyo, hindi na kayo nagkita kasi...
Ay, masakit po yun. Iniyak ko yun dun sa, nandun ako sa Marikina Hotel. Kasi syempre, di ba, nandun ka, sitwasyon na ganun. Tapos, paano mo namatay yung kapatid mo nang wala ka sa tabi niya?
Matapos ang pagsubok na ito, lalo pang nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob si Roslyn para itaguyod ang kanyang pamilya. Sa tulong ng tupad, nakapagsimula rin siya ng munting negosyo, ang paggawa ng sabon at pagbebenta ng pagkain.
Nakatulong po ba talaga sa inyo, sa buhay ninyo, yung pagkakaroon ng tupad?
Ang laking tulong po nun. Kapag ikay napasok sa tupad, yung may sahod, yung sahod na yon ay talagang ang laking tulong po sa amin. Katulad nun, sumahod ako, naibili kong uniform yung anak ko, pinandagdag ko sa business. Kaya yun, thankful din po naman ako sa aming barangay, sa government na nababaan po ako. Isa po ako sa napiling beneficiary na tupad. Katulad ko, wala naman ako regular na trabaho. Nag-online selling, kung ano yung inaalok na paninda para makatulong. Si Tupad para po sa akin ay malaking tulong po. Idinagdag ko po dun sa aking negosyo.
Di tulad noong pandemya, sa Marikina City, dama na ang pagbaba ng bilang ng mga benepisyaryo ng Tupad.
Understandably, dahil nga nagre-recover na yung ating ekonomiya, kaya correspondingly ay mas mababa na yung beneficiary ng tupad natin sa ngayon. Hindi ibig sabihin mas madaming beneficiary ay mas maganda, kundi kung mas kaunti ito ay ibig sabihin mas gumaganda yung ating ekonomiya. Tulad nga ng ang objective talaga is economic resiliency.
Kasabay ng pagbangon ng ekonomiya, ramdam na din ang tuluyang pagbaba ng bilang ng mga nagnanais na makatanggap ng tulong mula sa tupad. Mula sa 4.2 million beneficiaries noong 2022, kasalukuyang nasa 1 milyon na lamang ang tumatanggap ng benepisyo mula sa tupad. Pero hindi nagpapakampante ang DOLE upang masigurong may inklusibong paglago, target ng kagawaran na matulungan ang pinaka-naghihirap na lugar sa bansa.
Kaya nga, kasama namin ang TESDA, nagtatarget kami, nagbibigay kami ng prioridad doon sa tinatawag natin na 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities na kung saan ang aming assessment hindi masyado pang nararamdaman ang presence ng gobyerno at kinakailangan o kaya naman ay hindi pa sila nakakatanggap ng tulong. Kaya dapat ay mapuntahan natin sila at ito ang marching order na ibinibigay ng liderato ng DOLE doon sa ating mga regional director, sa ating mga regional offices, nang sa ganon ay makaabot ang serbisyo ng pamahalaan.
Bagaman naging matagumpay ang pagpapatupad ng programa sa mga nagdaang taon, pangarap ng DOLE na balang araw ay mabawasan pa ang umaasa sa tupad program at dumami ang mga magkakaroon ng pangmatagalang trabaho alinsunod sa direktiba ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Dahil dito, aktibong tinutulungan ng DOLE ang mga benepisyaryo ng tupad sa pamamagitan ng mga pagsasanay.
Gusto natin din na matulungan silang makagraduate dun sa konsepto na sila ay purely welfare assistance beneficiaries, no? So meron siyang component din ng training sa pakikipagtulungan sa TESDA, Technical Education Skills Development Authority, at meron tayong component ng livelihood, kabuhayan. Nang sa ganon, medyo sustainable at gagabayan natin sila counseling at meron ding intervention, bahagi dyan ng DTI para i-link natin sila sa merkado o sa mga produkto.
Sa Marikina City, may mga ginagawa ding pagsasanay pagdating sa financial management, basic accounting, bookkeeping, online marketing at iba pa. Hinihikayat din ng lungsod ang pagbubukas ng mga negosyo sa tulong ng iba't ibang insentibo.
Zero tax sila on the first year. On the second year, 50% off sila. Yung mga maliliit na mga variety store, yung sari-sari store, na pangkabuhayan lang, di naman para kumita. O kaya yung mga karinderya, mga maliliit na eatery, mga libre na sila sa mga business tax. Yung mga regulatory fees, di na rin natin sila pinagbabayad.
Ang pangkasalukuyang administrasyon ay matapat at talagang masigasig na makalikha ng mas maraming hanap buhay sa tulong ng pribadong sektor.
Sa pagtutulungan ng iba't ibang sangay ng gobyerno, pagsasanay sa mga manggagawa, hanggang sa pagpapababa ng presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin at serbisyo. Lahat ng ito ay may epekto sa pamumuhay ng bawat Pilipino, patungo sa pangarap ng administrasyon na makamit ang isang matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay ng lahat ng mamamayang Pilipino. Ako si Naomi Tiburcio, on assignment.
Likas sa manggagawang Pilipino ang husay at galing na talaga namang subok na sa loob at labas ng bansa. Ang Tupad program ay patunay lamang na nagpapatuloy ang dedikasyon ng ating pamahalaan at ng mga ahensya nito upang matulungan ang bawat isa na may angat ang antas ng pamumuhay ng bawat Pilipino. Sama-samang pag-unlad sa bagong Pilipinas. Magbabalik ang On Assignment. Nagbabalik ang On Assignment. Ang Department of Human Settlements and Human Development ay ang ahensya na siyang naatasang mga siwa sa mga programang pabahay ng ating gobyerno para sa ating mga kababayan. Sa istoryang tinutukan ni Ryan Lesiges, nakilala natin sina Mang Manuel at Danilo na pawang mga haligi ng kanilang pamilya. At tulad ng maraming ama, wala silang inasam kundi ang magkaroon ng maayos na matitirhan. Balikan natin ang kanilang mga kwento.
Ang pagkakaroon daw ng maayos na tahanan ay isa sa mga basihan ng disenteng buhay. Halos lahat ata ng tao sa mundo ang magkaroon nito ang nangunguna sa listahan ng kanilang mga pangarap sa buhay. Subalit, tulad nga ng kasabihan, hindi lahat ng pangarap ay nagkakaroon ng katuparan. Sa datos ng Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, umaabot sa 6.5 million na pamilya ang walang maayos na tahanan sa bansa. Ang ilan, piniling manirahan sa mga estero at ang iba naman sa panganib ng ating mga kalsada. Isa na dito si Tatay Manuel. Dahil sa hirap ng buhay sa probinsya at sa pangmalatrato ng kanyang mga kapatid, napilitan siyang makipagsapalaran dito sa Maynila.
Nakakapag kasi mga kapatid ko. Ang ginawa ko, pinalo ko. Ayan, doon ako naglayas.
Ano bang ginagawa sa'yo?
Kinukuratahin ako. Kasi lasing man, tatadyakan ako. Kasi, kuwitan mo ako. Kuha ko tubig, bilang ko sigarilyo. Kailangan, sunod-sunod na utos. Say ko bait, 2-3 ba katawan ko? Nagagalit, sasipahan ako. Ayun.
Unang nanirahan sa Divisoria si Tatay Manuel. Sa kanyang pagnanais na makaahon sa buhay, nagpursigi siya na makahanap ng trabaho sa lugar na may tuturing niyang bagong mundo. hanggang sa nakapasok siya bilang isang kargador ng bigas. Pero hindi rin naging madali ang lahat.
Mahirap trabaho ron. Meron tagliman sa akong mabigas, ginakaratilya, i-deliver. Tapos pag deliver, tawag sa telepono. Wala pa mga cellphone, wala pa, telepono. Kaya doon na si Manuel, nag-deliver na bigas, 5 sako. Nagkataha pa, akala ka nanakawin ko. Di rin namin ugali yun, magnanakaw. Nagkatsaga ako sa 30 pesos ang buwan, magnanakaw pa ako, pangit yun, magnanakaw, pangit.
Yung mga panahong yun, sabi mo mahirap yung trabaho mo, minsan napapagbintangan ka pa na magnanakaw. So masakit din sa loob mo yung ganun.
Masakit talaga, yan lang, hindi ko man ginagawa. Kaya kung ba, nagkatahapan pala ko, ganun. Hindi ko man gawaan yung magnanakaw. Napares ako. Hindi ako uwan. Nakakaya na ako, pinaghirapan ko talaga. Sinabi yung mga tao dyan, dapat sumama ka sa pagnanakaw, hindi ko gawain yun. Napares ako.
Para makaiwas sa mapanglait na kapwa sa Divisoria, nag-alsabalutan si Tatay Manuel at tumira sa Navotas. Pero dahil walang kamag-anak na maaring tuluyan, dito sa ilalim ng tulay niya, naisip na magtayo ng munting bahay.
Puro improvise to. Ito, pinagtagping mga plywood at ito mga napulot siguro na tarpaulin na inaanod na rin dito sa ilog.
Halos 1 dekada na siyang nakatira dito sa ilalim ng tulay. Kwento pa niya, nakailang beses na daw siyang nasita ng barangay at ng maritime.
Mag-8 taon na ito rito, ang balsa. Doon ako dati nakatira yung kawayan doon. Binawal man ako sa maritime. Pinasok ko rito.
Dito, hindi ka na sinisita ng maritime?
Pumunta rito, lang wala ako. Doon ako sa kabila. Binidyohan lang sa maritime. Tapos, may bumunta ko ng DNR din. Binidyohan sa taas. Wala ako. Doon man ako sa kabila. Pagdating ko yun, sinabi nga, yung balsa mo, binidyohan sa DNR. Wala ka. Sinabi nila, umuwi ko sa probinsya. Doon lang ako sa Block 34 pala.
Sa loob ng halos 1 dekada, pangunguhan ng tahong ang ikinabubuhay ni Tatay Manuel.
So matapos yung halos 9 na oras na pagpalaot ni Tatay, simula kaninang alas 4 ng madaling araw, ito ngayon yung kanyang mga nakuha sa laot. At mula dito, kanya itong hinihimay, nililinis at binabalot-balot at sa kanya ilalako sa kanyang mga suki. Magkano yung isang ganito? 25 pesos. So dito mo na kukunin yung yung pangkain mo pang araw-araw, pambili ng bigas. Paano yun? Medyo mahal natin yung bigas ngayon. Anong pinipili mo?
Kalahati, 27.
Ilang kain mo yun? Kalahating kilo? 3. Tinitipid mo yun o sakto-sakto naman?
Hindi, kunti man lang ako kumakain.
Kunti lang kung kumain.
Kung titingnan ang kalagayan ng pamumuhay ni Tatay Manuel, 1 kahig, 1 tuka ito. Minsan, iniisip niya na lang daw na umuwi ng probinsya.
Gusto ko umuwi, wala nang pera. Magkano ba masaya sa amin? May 2,000.
Pero kung ngayon bibigyan ka ng pagkakataon, bigyan ka ng konting puhunan, uuwi ka?
Pwede rin. Maganda may puhunan. Mamila ko isda. Lang, wala rin. Gusto ko talaga umuwi na lang.
Si Tatay Manuel ay ilan lamang sa ating mga kababayan na bagamat alintana ang hirap at kalagayan ng kanilang tinitirahan, ay hindi magawang umalis dahil sa iisang dahilan. Narito ang kanilang ikinabubuhay.
Isa po sa mga naging issue ng pabahay ng mga nakalipas po nating mga interventions yung pong paglilipat ng ating mga kababayan sa relocation site na medyo malayo kung saan sila nakatira. Ang nangyayari po kasi pagka nagkakaganon yung ating mga kababayan, medyo nahihiwalay dun sa kanilang source of livelihood at nabibiyak po yung tinatawag nilang social capital. Ibig sabihin kung may network ka na ng kaibigan doon, malalayo ka. Mawawalan ka ng mga kasama sa buhay na makakatulong sa'yo sa araw-araw.
Batid ng pamahalaan ang pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan sa maayos na tirahan. Kaya naman, sinimulan ng gobyerno ang pagpapatayo ng mga pabahay para sa milyong-milyong Pilipinong mahihirap. Ito ay sa ilalim ng Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino Housing Program o 4PH.
Susunod sa On Assignment.
Napamahal na rin kami doon dahil siyempre, simula ako nung nagkaanak, parang bang popular na rin sa amin yung lugar na yon. tiwala na ako dahil dadaanan mo, karsada na. Kaya napamahal na sa amin yun. Kaya inabot ako ng ganun taon.
Ang mga kwento sa likod ng bawat suntok, puntos at atake, tungo sa pagtagumpay. Mula mismo sa mga alamat sa larangan ng palakasan. Kasama ang veteranong mamamahayag ng kwentong sports, Bill Velasco. Masters of the Game. Dito lang sa PTV.
Batid ng pamahalaan ang pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan sa maayos na tirahan. Kaya naman, sinimulan ng gobyerno ang pagpapatayo ng mga pabahay para sa milyong-milyong Pilipinong mahihirap. Ito ay sa ilalim ng Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino Housing Program o 4PH.
Unang-una kami natutuwa na i-report sa ating mga kababayan na as of today, meron na tayong 151 MOU signed together with local government units and other stakeholder partners. No? Pero higit namin kinakatuwa dahil nitong nakalipas na Hulyo, naglabas po ang ating mahal na Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ng isang executive order, yung pong Executive Order number 34 Series of 2023.
Patuloy din ang ginagawang paraan ng pamahalaan na mas mapababa pa ang buwan ng bayad ng mga kukuha ng pabahay.
Doon po sa ating tinatawag na National Expenditure Program for 2024, sinuportahan po tayo ng Department of Budget and Management at in-endorse po ang line item po na housing interest support para po dito sa ating programa. Ibig po sabihin, ito pong ating housing interest support na ating pinangangako na siyang magpapababa na monthly amortization ng ating mga kababayan na maging benepisyaryo ng 4PH, magkakatotoo na po.
Nitong taon lamang, pinangunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang turnover ceremony sa mahigit 1,000 housing unit sa lungsod ng Malabon. Kabilang ang pamilya nila Tatay Danilo mula sa East Riverside, Potrero, Malabon sa unang nakalipat sa pabahay.
Nalipat po kami rito noong February 27 itong taon.
Halos isang dekadang nanirahan ang pamilya ni Tatay Danilo sa tabi ng estero. Sa bawat pagbagsak ng malakas na ulan at pagtama ng bagyo, gadibdib na taas ng baha ang kanilang kinakaharap.
Mas mahirap po. Kasi tuwing uulan, mangangamba ka. Darating yung baha. Siyempre, kung may gamit ka sa siyempre, i-prepare mo na yun para kung dumating man yung baha, makakaligtas yung gamit mo. Kung wala kang ganun, kawawa ka, lutang-lutang mga gamit sa baba.
Bagamat alam nila ang panganib sa lugar na kanilang tinitirahan, tiniis nila ito dahil doon na sila nakapagsimula ng kanyang pamilya at ito rin ang malapit sa kanilang hanap buhay.
Dati po akong factory worker. Diyan lang malapit lang din sa bahay namin ng 15 minutes nga nilalakad ko. Sa may industrial lang kami nakatira dyan sa may Potrero. Yan, papuntang dating, may eskwelahan dyan, Gaop dati. Diyan kami, kaya natitiis namin yon dahil tungkol lang sa trabaho. Malapit ho. Hindi na ako mamamasahe, maglalakad lang. Ngayon, retirement na, nagka-injury pa. Napilitan na lang ako na, sige, sama na lang tayo, lipat na lang tayo dun sa pabahay ng Pangulo. Sabi ko. Kaya yun ang namin, nalipat kami rito.
Aminado si Tatay Danilo na napamahal na sa kanila ang kanilang dating tirahan.
Napamahal na rin kami doon dahil siyempre, simula ako nung nagkaanak, parang bang popular na rin sa amin lugar na yon. Tiwala na ako dahil dadaanan mo, karsada na. Kaya napamahal na sa amin yun. Kaya inabot ako ng ganun taon.
Ngunit para sa kanya, tama na raw ang ilang dekadang pakikipagsapalaran sa bawat kalamidad sa dating sinisilungan.
Mas importante yun dahil maayos ang tinitirahan mo. Wala ka nang hanapin pa kahit ganyan lang yan, kalaki. Wala, safety ka naman. Hindi ka naman mag-aagabaga pag may bagyo, kung anong darating na unos. Wala ka pangangambahan kasi nakasafety ka na eh. Kaya maganda na yung namin, tirahan na wala na kami sa malapit sa ilog. Oh, magbaha man dyan sa mataas kami, hindi na kami mangangamba.
Si Tatay Danilo, walang paglagyan ang pasasalamat sa mga tumulong na magkaroon sila ng sariling tahanan na ligtas mula sa panganib na dala ng kalamidad.
Siyempre, kung hindi sa Pangulo na ganitong pabahay, hindi kami malilipat ng ganito. Kaya yun din kami nagpapasalamat sa Pangulo at saka sa mayora namin sa Malabon. Kaya doon din kami nagpapasalamat na narelocate kami sa magandang bahay na tirahan.
Ayon sa Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, bukas para sa lahat ng walang maayos na tirahan ang housing program ng pamahalaan.
Dito po sa pabahay ng ating pamahalaan, no, ng ating administrasyon, kagaya na nabanggit ko kanina, madami po tayong pinirmahan na MOUs with local government units kasi po sila po ang ating partner pagdating po sa usapin po ng beneficiary selection. Now, ang ating pong tinitignan, pagka doon po sa ating beneficiary selection, halos lahat po gagawin natin prioridad. Kasi po ang medyo pinagkaiba nitong pambansang pabahay para sa Filipino Housing Program. Hindi na po tayo nakatali doon po sa national budget na lumalabas sa General Appropriations Act. Dati ho kasi, ang programa, kung ano pong ibigay na budget sa housing, yun pong ipampapagawa namin pabahay, at limitado na kami kung magkano ang cost. I-divide nyo lang kung magkano yung budget. Yun lang po na po-produce natin. Ngayon po, dahil po ang ating approach ngayon ay gamitin ang private funds mula sa private sector at ang pondo, yung government financial institutions natin, yung kanilang investable funds, naniniwala po kami na halos unlimited po itong pondo na ito. So mas marami po ang makakasali dito sa programa ito. Yun nga lang po, ina-expect po natin na dadaan po tayo sa selection process ng ating ng LGU.
Si Tatay Danilo at si Tatay Manuel, parehong haligi ng kanilang mga pamilya. Bilang mga ama, tanging maayos na masisilungan para sa kanilang mga pamilya ang kanilang pinapangarap. Kaya naman ang tanging magagawa ng ating pamahalaan ay makapagbigay ng maayos at magandang tirahan sa ating mga kababayan kung saan sila ay makakapamuhay bilang isang komunidad.
Yun po ang ating paniwala, no? Napaka po ginandahan natin yung ating pabahay at dahil ang pagtingin na po natin sa pabahay hindi lamang po bubong sa ibabaw ng ulo ng ating mga kababayan, kundi po isang komunidad na kung saan sila ay pwedeng maging prosperous, kung saan sila ay magkakaroon po ng oportunidad, naniniwala po kami na yung pong pabahay na ating itatayo in a community, hindi po iiwan.
At para sa katulad ni Tatay Manuel na nais ding magkaroon ng sariling tahanan, maaari siyang lumapit sa lokal na gobyerno na siyang nangangasiwa ng mga aplikasyon para sa pabahay ng pamahalaan.
Sa ating pong local government units at kung kailangan din po nila ng informasyon patungkol po sa ating 4PH program, dito po sa aming tanggapan.
Malaki ang maitutulong ng pamahalaan kay Tatay Manuel. Subalit, hindi lang pala matitirahan ang kulang.
Manilin, nasaan ka man ngayon? Gusto kita kausapin. Dito ko sa nabutas. Hindi na ako yung anak ko. Tagal na kasi yung anak ko rin.
Namimiss mo ba ito?
Oo, namimiss ko lang. Sa malayo man, di na nag-intindi sa akin.
May mensahe din si Tatay Manuel sa kanyang mga kapatid sa Samar.
Pablo, kumusta sa iyong kamutang?
Ako, si Ryan Lisiges, on assignment.
Ang pagkakaroon ng bahay at lupa ay tulay sa pagitan ng dignidad ng isang tao at kakayahang mabuhay sa ating lipunan. At sa mga katulad ni Mang Manuel at Danilo, hindi tumitigil ang ating pamahalaan sa pagbibigay ng mga programa upang mabigyan ng maayos na masisilungan ang bawat pamilyang Pilipino. At narito naman ang mga istoryang ang hatid sa atin ay good vibes. Daniel Manalastas, ibida mo.
Sabi nila kung may tiyaga, may nilaga. Pero sa kwento ni Dre Tanyo na nagtiyaga, kaya naman may burger. Sinong mag-aakala na sa maliit na pop-up shop na ito sa Kaliraya ay unti-unting magbubunga ang pangarap ni Dre. Kwento niya, nang pumasok ang pandemya, nawalan siya ng trabaho dahil sa nagsara ang pinapasukan niyang restaurant. Isa siyang dating cook, pero ang pagsasara ng restaurant na ito hindi natigil para siya ay magsumikap.
Naghanap po ako ng ways para masuportahan po yung family ko. Kasi may anak po ako, sir eh. And then, yun nga po, nanghiram po ako ng puhunan sa tsahin ko. Tapos nanghiram po ako ng lumang cooler para makapag-pop up siya po dun sa Kaliraya.
Umulan man o bumagyo, walang palya si Dre para sa kanyang pamilya. Kahit sa mga loob-looban pinapasok niya, makapag-deliver lamang. Sa bahay siya nagluluto at araw-araw namimili, tsaka ilalako ang kanyang produkto. Isa sa mga naging hamon niya, ang problema sa pera. Dagdag pa ang pagsipa ng presyo ng langis. Kaya na mangyari ito, mula pagbumotor nagbike na lang siya muna upang makatipid. Pero hindi natigil dito ang kanyang pagsusumikap.
Talagang yung mga point na po yun, sobrang down po kami sa financially, sa pumumuhay po, tapos nabatak pa po yung motor ko noon, sir. Kasi po, naguhulugan ako nag-pandemic nga po. Kaya, tuwing po, nagbabike po ako araw-araw. Kahit po sobrang init, namimili po ako ng stock. Bali, binudget ko rin po talaga na mabuti. Sobrang dami po, sir.
Mula sa munting pop-up shop, nagsikap sa gitna ng mga hamon sa buhay. Kaya naman ngayon, unti-unti nang nakapagpundar si Dre ng kanyang sariling restaurant. Hindi na po problemahin ang ulan sa kalsada. Maayos at talaga namang may pagmamalaki na niya. Katakam-takam pa ang mga menu. At ang kanyang specialty na burger. Payo ni Dre sa mga katulad niyang nakakaranas ng pagsubok, magpatuloy lang.
Follow nyo lang po yung passion nyo talaga, sir. Kasi po ako talaga, hilig ko po magluto. Bata pa lang po, mahilig po kasi ako kumain ng mga masarap na pagkain eh. Dito po sa lugar kasi namin, medyo kukunti pa lang po yung mga burger na American style. Kaya yun po yung naging way ko para makapasok sa food industry. Tapos yun po, unti-unti po nakilala ng mga tao kasi quality po yung luto ko. Marami po naging suki, talagang araw-araw po sila halos bumibili. Tapos yun po, taon din po ang naging proseso.
Sa ngayon nakatayo na ang restaurant ni Dre sa Laguna. Ako si Daniel Manalastas, on assignment.
Bilang miyembro ng ating lipunan, mahalagang magkaroon tayo ng kaalaman pagdating sa mga balita at usapin ng bayan. Muli, ako po si Maan Macapagal, on assignment.
Minglawa, welcome to ASEAN Women Entrepreneurship Program. Through this program, you will see the efforts of women entrepreneurs in ASEAN member states who are achieving in their respective business field with creative idea. ASEAN has over 600 million population and it is one of the largest economies in the world. In accord with the economic growth in the region, the women participation in the business sector plays one of the crucial roles. Now, women in ASEAN contribute their efforts significantly to support the economic progress of their countries through their own businesses and SMEs. You will enjoy sharing business experience and knowledge of ASEAN women, enhancing entrepreneurship and gender equality, and creating a business environment led by women through the program. It will highlight the role of ASEAN women entrepreneurs and share their experience, how they have overcome challenges for their success to the viewers. Let's enjoy the programs of ASEAN member states.
Dreams change all the time. It's important to acknowledge the power of seizing the right opportunity at the right time.
I'm a comms graduate, actually chanced upon the tech industry about 10 years ago, and it was all from a late night landing session with a friend. It was very interesting. Obviously, it's completely new in this region, and it was a very exciting opportunity for me, so I decided to just go for an interview anyway, got the job immediately. 3 years later, 2015 I believe, right near the start, and took care of country management for Singapore, and today I take care of expansion for ShopBack. People think I have a pretty cool job. I travel, I meet new people, I discover new cultures, try new food. All of them are true. But of course, on top of that, there is a lot more that comes together with that. It's a lot about growing teams and bringing ShopBack's culture to the new markets. And of course, over the years, there are a lot of awards. One of the first one was actually a startup award in Singapore, and we also submitted for a mobile congress. And I remember that was only within our first year, we already won gold for that in Barcelona. Shopback since 2014 has expanded into 9 different countries, of course including Singapore, as well as Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Taiwan, Australia, Vietnam, and South Korea most recently. Some of the challenges I face as a technopreneur, well, actually there's just one major one, which is facing constant uncertainty. Can improve your product every day in order for users to see you adding value to them too. So that is one of the key challenges.
So we chose Josie to be part of Shopback because I think she has 3 good qualities. So I think the first one is that she's highly competitive. Every time she does something, she really goes out of her way to want to win it.
Josie constantly challenges us because she basically sets very high standards for the team. She has very high expectations of what we can achieve for the team.
She's always so passionate and working relentlessly towards her goals, and that is really, really inspiring to us as well. So we see her as a leading example, and we aspire to be like her.
I think behind every tech startup that you have is actually run by people, right? And being able to see the good in people, I think that really helps a lot. So I think that allows her to really get things started as well as to help things grow well.
Currently in Singapore, women only makes up about 30% of the workforce in the tech industry. 30%, it's a very small amount, and unconscious bias or even cultural stigmas have a massive role to play here. And this forms a really unhealthy cycle, right, that goes on and on, where women's confidence level is affected. And then that causes these stigmas to be formed from a very young age. And that's a really big problem. And we all know that women have a huge role to play in the future of tech. And the first step is really for women to acknowledge that this exists, and it will help to give confidence to all women to help fill the tech gap that's needed in a very male-dominated industry. So how can we encourage more women to be in tech? I think it's quite important that we tackle this right from the start, you know, where education plays a major role. And it's just as simple as having a women spokesperson to talk about STEM-related the field of studies. So as any parent, I think, typically they always care about you by, you know, telling you how you need to drink more water, you know, you need to breathe sometimes, you know, brush your teeth. I think it's just their way of telling them, you know, like that they telling you that they care about you. But what I really love about my family is that while they're doing that, they never really question my every move. Even when I joined a startup, they never sort of like asked me, why would you do that? Why would you not, you know, take on something a little bit more stable? And of course, I guess there were always a little bit of questions, especially from my dad's side, where both my sisters were always in like, you know, major stable jobs in large corporations. And it was more like, hey, you know, you could have considered these opportunities, why wouldn't you now? But there was never anything that was more like telling me to not do it or asking me why or challenging me why. It was more of like a silent supporting role that they really played, and it was something that I really appreciated. So they definitely supported me in my entire career in the startup.
其實係冇咩特別擔心啦，因為佢咁年輕，係可以做多啲唔同嘅嘗試啦。咁亦都佢比較係容易接受到有挑戰性嘅嘢啦，咁亦都可以學習其他唔同多啲範圍嘅嘢咯。其實我冇擔心佢要做啲咩嘢啦，咁佢當然肯去嘗試啲新嘅嘢係非常好嘅，同埋佢從小咧我都感覺到佢係比較喺學習方面嘅能力都幾高，亦都好肯去接受新嘅嘢啦。咁佢亦都好有創意，佢知道我好 support 佢啦。其實係因為我都好似 其實佢返工啊、去打波啊、去成啦，我都會 pick up 佢。咁佢都會感覺到我係會 support 佢咯。
She's also very entrepreneurial. I remember when I think I was like 7 or something, and that means she's 11. We would have these postcards that my mom purchased, and then she would bring me along to start selling these postcards to our neighbors. So we would go across blocks, up and down, knocking on every single door, and she'll be leading me, and she'll be asking everyone, do you want to buy a postcard from us? And there is no reason why anyone would need to buy a postcard, but it was just like something that she did. I thought it was really fun as well. So yeah, she's very entrepreneurial. I think she's a very brave person. She takes on a lot of challenges. She doesn't get bogged down by the things around her, and she's fearless in that sense because she's not afraid to fail, and she tries out a lot of different things without that kind of worry, which I think is what separates her from a lot of other people.
My advice for women who really want to enter the tech industry is really try not to please everyone, because it really gets you nowhere. And if you know what you want to do, focus on that and really just try your best to get that done. And if you really want to go into it, find out more about it, talk to people about it, get advice about it. And that really, really helps you out in the first place. All back to my first point about confidence levels, which is what support are schools giving you? What information are your parents giving you? Are you getting consent that you need? If you want to do it, you're interested in it, get into it. And that's your personal choice to make. And I feel like that really, really helps and to make a huge difference.
My life philosophy is, can't is not an option. This helps me to continuously try, fail, learn, and hopefully succeed. And the mistakes I make will always remind me to stay humble.
G ka na ba sa pagboto ngayong barangay at sangguniang kabataan elections? Tandaan na ang voting hours ay mula alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 3 ng hapon. Habang alas 7 ng umaga hanggang 1:00 ng hapon naman sa mga emergency accessible polling place para sa mga PWD, senior citizens at buntis. Manual o mano-mano ang magiging botohan. Pwera na lang sa 3 pilot testing barangay na gagamit ng VCM or vote counting machine. Paalala lang sa araw ng halalan, alamin ang inyong precinct number at voting center. Gumawa ng listahan ng mga kandidatong iboboto. Gamitin ang ballot secrecy folder sa pagboto. Huwag kuhanan ng litrato, ang balota o gumawa ng kopya nito. At iwasang dumihan, burahin, punitin o lagyan ng anumang kakaibang marka ang balota. Tandaan mga kabarangay ha, isang SK ballot ang kailangan punan ng mga botanteng edad 15 to 17 years old. Isang SK ballot at isang barangay ballot naman para sa mga botanteng 18 to 30 years old. At isang barangay ballot para sa mga botanteng 31 years old pataas. Kabilang ka dito, kaya makilahok at bumoto. Isang paalala para sa maayos, malinis at payapang halalan mula sa PTV.
Join us for your nightly news fix. And always staying informed with our comprehensive coverage of news, business, politics, current events, and more. From our network of journalists across the Philippines and the rest of the world. Anchored by William Theo, Charms Espina, and Monique Tuzon. PTV News Tonight, Mondays to Fridays, 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Only here on PTV.
Susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Walang makapagsasabi kung ano ang mga numerong mananalo sa lahat ng PCSO games. Huwag maniwala sa mga text messages, liham o tawag sa telepono na nagsasabing magbibigay daw sila ng tip kapalit ng pera o cellphone load. Bumili ng ticket sa mga PCSO authorized outlets at PCSO branches bago ang actual draw.
It's a brand new day, a brand new week, and new possibilities and chances to become the next instant millionaire. Dito po sa #1 at paboritong programa ng mga Pinoy, PCSO Lottery Draw. Maligayang araw po ng Lunes, mga kalaro, October 23, 2023 na po. Nalalapit na naman ang pagtatapos ng buwan. Pahuhuli pa ba kayo? Make sure may tickets ho kayo at yan lang po ang paraan para makasali sa games natin dito. Stay tuned at samahan ko kami ni Queenie sa pagbola ng mga masaswerteng numero ngayong gabi. Queenie, good evening.
Good evening din sa'yo, Eric, at sa lahat ng mga kalaro natin kanina pa nakatutok sa kanilang mga smartphones o TV screens. The long wait is over. Nandito na po tayo sa exciting part. Itotodo na natin ang buhos ng papremyo ngayong alas 9 ng gabi. At gaya nga po ng sinabi ni Eric, para mas masaya ang buong linggo, make it a habit to buy tickets every day para sa chances to win cash prizes.
Pero bago tayo magsimula, Queenie, paalala muna kaugnay ho sa transition ng PCSO sa bagong lottery system. Ang mga lotto tickets na nabili hanggang September 30, 2023, maaari pa pong ipavalidate sa mga lotto outlets hanggang October 31, 2023. Pero simula November 1, 2023, ang validation ng mga nasabing tickets ay sa PCSO branch offices at sa PCSO main office na po. Kaya sa may mga naitatabi pang tickets dyan, magpa-validate agad sa nearest lotto outlets.
Okay, Eric, ipakilala na natin ang Lotto Barkada na makakasama natin dito sa Draw Court. Nandito po ang ating Lotto Draw Panel of Judges from the gaming public. Present din ang mga representatives from the PCSO and the Commission on Audit.
Good evening. And to assist us with our draws, we have our PCSO Draw Coordinator. Good evening din po, sir.
It's game time, Pilipinas! Ready na ba kayong maging Lotto Millionaire?
Let's play your favorite Lotto games!
Sa isinagawang pre-draw procedures, natunghayan ng Lotto Draw Panel of Judges and Draw Representatives from the PCSO and the Commission on Audit ang mga paghahanda bago ang live Lotto draws. Sa pamamagitan ng machine inspection at machine testing, siniguro po na maayos ang kondisyon ng mga draw machines. Only the operation of the remote switch button ang may human intervention.
Sa drawball case selection, 3 sets ang pinagpilian sa bawat game. Randomly, pumili ang chairperson ng isang set ng bola na gagamitin. Lahat po ng bola ay tinimbang para masiguro na halos pantay-pantay ang bigat ng bawat bola. Properly documented at covered po ng video ang bawat activity. Matapos masiguro na ito'y kumpleto, ang draw team member ang maglo-load ng draw balls na gagamitin sa mga draws. Lotto players, wala pong pinalad na makapag-uwi ng engranding papremyo last Saturday. So tonight's Grand Lotto Jackpot prize is 47,013,053 pesos and 80 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. Mr. Draw Coordinator, sir, please press that button and let's play Grand Lotto 655. Maraming salamat, sir. Grand Lotto fans, tutok na sa inyong tickets. 55 draw balls, numbered 1 to 55 ang nasa loob ng draw machine. Mag-isa po yung pipili ng mga winning numbers. And the first number is 54. Sa ating jackpot-bearing games, gaya nitong Grand Lotto, paghahatian equally ang jackpot. Kung dalawa o higit pa ang winners, second number, 49. Sa Grand Lotto, panalo ka ng 60 pesos. Pag nag-match po ang 3 numbers po ninyo sa ating winning combination. Third number is 42. Sakali namang makuha ang 4 na numero out of the 6 winning numbers, 1,500 pesos ang inyong papremyo. And the fourth number is 39. Kung 5 out of the 6 winning numbers ang nasa ticket po ninyo, instant winner kayo ng 100,000 pesos. The fifth number is 19. Isang number na lang hinihintay natin piliin, makukumpleto ng ating winning combination. Good luck sa mga may tickets. The sixth and final number, 35. Recapping tonight's Grand Lotto winning numbers in any order: 54, 49, 42, 39, 19, and 35 with a jackpot prize of 47,013,053 pesos and 80 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. Mega Philippines, gawin pa nating mega saya ang gabi ninyo. Let's play Mega Lotto 645. Wala rin po tayong jackpot winner last Friday. Kaya naman ang mega jackpot ngayong gabi umabot na sa 25,357,348 pesos and 40 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. Once again, sir, please press that button and let's play Mega Lotto 645. Thank you, sir. Mega Lotto players, 45 draw balls numbered 1 to 45 naman po ang laman ng ating draw machine. 6 lucky balls pa rin ang hinihintay natin para sa ating Mega Million combination for tonight. And the first number is 22. Ingatan po mga Lotto tickets, bawal na mabasa at mainitan yan. Tandaan, kailangan mabasa ng validating machine ang bawat detalye ng inyong winning ticket pag nag-claim na kayo ng premyo. Second number, 8. Sa Mega Lotto Draw, panalo ho kayo ng 30 pesos sakaling mag-match ang 3 numbers po ninyo sa ating winning numbers. The third number is 42. 1,000 pesos naman na papremyo kung makuha ang 4 out of the 6 Mega Lotto winning numbers. And the fourth number is number 3. At kung 5 winning numbers ang nasa ticket po ninyo, 32,000 pesos kaagad ang inyong panalo. The fifth number is the number 12. Isang number na lang hinintay natin, makukumpleto na ang Mega Million combination. Good luck po doon sa mga namumuro sa ating Mega Lotto with a jackpot prize of more than 25 million pesos. The sixth and final number is 27. Muli po ang ating Mega Lotto 645 winning numbers. In any order, 22, 8, 42, 3, 12, and 27 with a jackpot prize of 25,357,348 pesos and 40 centavos. That of the Asia's prize commission.
Huwag nang maglipat ng channel o mag-browse ng ibang websites. Susunod na exciting digit prizes. Pero bago po yan, narito po ang pa-birthday ng PCSO para sa inyong lahat. Panoorin po natin.
Hello, what's up mga kalaro? For this video, no other but good news and good vibes ang dala ko para sa inyo. Birthday na ulit ng PCSO and invited kayong lahat sa birthday bash nito. As we celebrate PCSO's 89th anniversary, may anniversary galong lotto tickets kami para sa inyo. Para maka-join, bumili lang ng minimum of 10 peso ticket for any digit game or 20 peso ticket for any jackpot bearing game. And tada! You got free Super Lotto 649 ticket worth 60 pesos and 6D Lotto ticket worth 40 pesos. Exciting, di ba? Uy mga beshies, limited offer lang to, so mark your calendars. Kita-kita tayo on October 24, 2023 dito sa PCS Games Hub sa PCS main office at sa mga PCS branches nationwide. For more information, visit the PCSO website, Facebook page, and Games Online Hub FB page. Di na tayo mga kalaro! Araw-araw, let's play Lotto!
Pwedeng manalo ng hindi bababa sa 10,000 pesos per 10 peso play at pwedeng umabot sa 100,000 pesos per 10 peso play. Exciting, di ba? Kailangan lang makuha in exact order ang 40 Lotto winning combination. May system plays din dito tulad ng Roll 1, Roll 4 at Perm o Rumble. At narito na ang ating 40 Lotto winning combination. The first number, 0. Second number, number 1. The third number, we have the number 5. And the fourth number is the number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's 40 Lotto winning combination, 0, 1, 5, and 3 in exact order. Alamin naman natin kung may panalong atid ang 3 numbers ninyo. Let's play the 3D Lotto game. Sa 3D Lotto, 3 numbers ninyo pwedeng manalo ng 4,500 pesos per 10 peso play kapag nag-match sa mapipiling 3D Lotto winning combination in exact order. 750 pesos or 1,500 pesos naman ang pwede nyong mapanalunan kung nag-rambolito. System play. At narito na ang ating 3D Lotto winning numbers. The first number, 8. The second number, number 3. And the third number is the number 7. Once again, tonight's 3D Lotto winning combination, 8, 3, and 7 in exact order. Siyempre, hindi po magpapahuli ang swerteng dala ng 2 numbers. Let's now play the 9 p.m. edition of 2D Lotto. Lotto players, 4,000 pesos per 10 peso play ang panalo kapag nag-match ang 2 numbers niyo sa ating winning combination in exact order. Kung nanalo ka naman via the Rambolito system play, 2,000 pesos ang may uuwi ninyo. Reminder lang sa ating mga Lotto winners, may 1 year lang po kayo to claim your prizes. At ito na ang resulta ng ating 2D Lotto draw for the first number, 31. And the second number is the number 10. Recapping the 2D Lotto winning numbers for the 9 p.m. draw, we have 31 and 10 in exact order. Congratulations to all the winners! Next up, usapang small town lottery na po tayo sa pagbabalik po yan ng PCSO Lottery Draw.
Hi guys! Sa mga first-time players at aspiring Lotto millionaires, para sa inyo ang infomercial na ito. Araw-araw ang tsansang manalo dahil araw-araw din ang swerteng hatid ng mga games ng PCSO. From Monday to Sunday, 2D Lotto at 3D Lotto 3 times a day nakakasalo. That's every 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and 9 p.m. draws. Tuwing alas 9 ng gabi, back-to-back ang mga pampagood vibes na dala ng samot-saring digit at jackpot-bearing games. Every Mondays and Wednesdays, mega saya ang dala ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 4D Lotto, Mega Lotto 645, and the Grand Lotto 655. Nag-uumapaw ang multi-million excitement every Tuesday. Hatid ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, Super Lotto 649, at Ultra Lotto 658. Ready ang Super Jackpot every Thursday. Hatid ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, and Super Lotto 649. Sigurado mag-enjoy kayo every Friday sa weekend treat ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 4D Lotto, Mega Lotto 645, and Ultra Lotto 658. Talbog ang Sabado night gimmick dahil big time ang panalong dala ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, 6D Lotto, Lotto 642, and the Grand Lotto 655. At pagdating ng Sunday, game na game pa rin ang Lotto Barkada sa papremyong hatid ng 2D Lotto, 3D Lotto, Super Lotto 649, at Ultra Lotto 658. Huwag palampasin ang pagkakataong maging Lotto Milyonaryo. Laging siguraduhin may Lotto ticket kayo at araw-araw, let's play Lotto!
Welcome back, SCL players! Para po sa kaalaman ng mga SCL players natin sa Visayas at Mindanao, authorized na po ang ilang STL AACs or Authorized Agent Corporations na gamitin ang national draw results sa kanilang operations. Para po sa updated na listahan ng STL AACs, panoorin po natin.
At para naman po sa mga reminders at good news ng PCSO, ang segment na What You Should Know.
Disaster Watch. Alamin ang Modified Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal System para sa mga paparating na bagyo. Signal number 1. Isa itong tropical depression na nagtataglay ng bahagyang lakas ng hangin at tatama sa loob ng 1.5 araw. Posible itong makadulot ng pinsala. Walang pasok ang mga bata sa preschool. Signal number 2. Ito ay tinatawag na tropical storm na may dalang katamtamang lakas ng hangin at posibleng tumama sa loob ng 24 oras. Pinapayuhan ng lahat na isecure ang kanilang mga bahay at kagamitan at huwag na munang maglakbay. Wala ring pasok ang mga mag-aaral mula sa preschool hanggang high school. Signal number 3. Ito ay severe tropical storm na posibleng tumama sa loob ng 18 oras. Pinapayuhan ang mga residente na lumikas sa mabababang lugar, baybayin at tabing ilog at maghanda sa pagkawala ng kuryente at komunikasyon. Walang pasok sa lahat ng antas ng edukasyon. Signal number 4. Ito ay isang ganap na typhoon na maaaring tumama sa loob ng 12 oras at nagtataglay ng napakalakas na hangin. Dapat manatili muna sa bahay at lumikas mula sa mga mapanganib na lugar. Signal number 5. Ito ay isang super typhoon na nagtataglay ng napakalakas na hangin at posibleng magdulot ng malawakang pinsala. Manatili sa loob ng matibay na gusali at mag-monitor sa mga weather update para sa inyong kaligtasan. Sa panahon ng bagyo, dapat laging listo.
Additional reminder to all our game players, yun pong Lucky Pick 3 at Swertres Hearing Facebook pages. Hindi po mga konektado ang mga yan sa PCSO. Pati na yung Pakiloto at Sure Lotto, hindi rin po produkto ng aming tanggapan. Umili lamang ng mga tickets sa mga authorized Lotto outlets and authorized STL representatives para makasiguro legit po ang games na sinasalihan ninyo.
And speaking of legit, i-like and follow na po ang isa pang Facebook page ng PCSO, ang PCSO Games Online Hub, para po manatiling updated sa Lotto Draw results, jackpot estimates, advisories, announcement of winners, and programs and activities ng PCSO.
Kami ho dito sa PCSO naniniwalang health is wealth. Kaya naman, marami ho kaming programang pangkalusugan para sa inyo. Patuloy pa rin po ang libreng medical and dental outpatient services para sa lahat. Para po sa serbisyo, pumunta lamang dito sa PCSO main office sa ground floor ng Conservatory Building sa Shaw Boulevard in Mandaluyong City, 8 ng umaga hanggang alas 5 po ng hapon, Monday to Friday.
First come, first served po ang ipinatutupad, kaya agahan ninyo ang pagpunta. Magdala po ng photocopy ng inyong valid ID at vaccination cards dahil iyon lamang fully vaccinated individuals ang pwedeng makatanggap ng serbisyo.
At para po sa iba pang health programs, panoorin po natin.
Libreng konsulta ba ang hanap ninyo? Meron tayo niyan dito sa PCSO. Inihahandog ng PCSO Multi-Specialty Clinic ang free medical services para sa inyo. Tuwing Lunes, ready to serve you ang aming mga cardiologist and neuropsychiatrist mula alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Available naman ang ating mga ENT doctor and pulmonologist every Tuesday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. At pagsapit ng Miyerkules, pwede kayong kumonsulta sa aming mga gastroenterologist and endocrinologist. Sa mga may problema sa buto, handang maglingkod sa inyo ang aming orthopedic surgeon every Thursday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. At kung may problema sa inyong paningin, worry no more dahil ang ating ever-reliable ophthalmologist na ang bahala sa inyo. Tuwing araw yan ng Biyernes mula 2 p.m. hanggang 5 p.m. All these services are free, kaya bumisita na sa PCSO Multi-Specialty Clinic. Pero reminder lamang po, fully vaccinated individuals lamang ang makakapag-avail ng mga nasabing serbisyo. Kaya dalhin po ang inyong mga vaccination cards, pati na din ang inyong mga valid ID with photo. For your inquiries and appointments, tumawag lamang sa aming Medical Services Department sa telephone number 8846-8757.
Para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, sa ilalim ng PCSO Medical Access Program, lahat ng kahilingan para sa mga gamot na pang-chemotherapy, post-kidney or liver transplantation, hemophilia, at ipuwitin injection ay kailangan ng kalakip na official quotation galing sa retailers, drugstores, pharmacies, ospital o dialysis centers. Para sa kumpletong listahan, bisitahin ang PCSO website. I-click ang e-services tab
at i-click ang list of medicine providers accepting PCSO guarantee letter nationwide. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, magpadala ng mensahe sa email address na pcsomain.charity@pcso.gov.ph para sa NCR. Maaari ring makipag-ugnayan sa Charity Assistance Department sa telepono bilang 8366-3329 o kaya sa pinakamalapit na PCSO branch na matatagpuan sa directory ng PCSO website.
Ang resulta ng 2 p.m. draws. For the 3D Lotto, we have 9, 4, and 5 in exact order. And for the 2D Lotto, we have 12 and 28 in exact order. Ang resulta ng 5 p.m. draws. For the 3D Lotto, we have 3, 5, and 5 in exact order. And for the 2D Lotto, we have 21 and 26 in exact order. To all late tuners, ready na po ang inyong ballpen at papel? At eto na ang resulta ng katatapos lang ng mga Lotto draws. Simulan natin sa 2D Lotto winning numbers. We have 31 and 10 in exact order. 3D Lotto, 8, 3, and 7 in exact order. 4D Lotto, 0, 1, 5, and 3 in exact order.
Para po sa ating Mega Lotto 645, in any order, the winning numbers are 22, 8, 42, 3, 12, and 27 with a jackpot prize of 25,357,348 pesos and 40 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. At sa Grand Lotto 655, in any order, 54, 49, 42, 39, 19, and 35 with the jackpot prize of 47,013,053 pesos and 80 centavos net of the agent's prize commission.
May bagong Lotto Millionaire kaya tayo ngayong gabi. Ayon po sa ating PCSO Data Center, sa Mega Lotto 645, we have no winner. At sa Grand Lotto 655, we also have no winner.
Congratulations naman po sa lahat ng Consolation Prize winners. Ang paraan kung paano mag-claim ng inyong premyo, panoorin po natin. Napakasaya ng manalo, napakadali pang mag-claim ng premyo sa mga Lotto games ng PCSO. Kung isa ka sa pinalad na maging Lotto winner, isulat ang iyong pangalan at pirmahan ang likod ng inyong winning ticket. Kung 20 pesos hanggang 10,000 pesos ang napanalunan, maaaring i-claim ang inyong premyo sa kahit saang authorized Lotto outlet near you. And for winners of more than 10,000 pesos up to 300,000 pesos, you can claim your prizes at the nearest PCSO branch in your area and present 2 valid IDs. Kung ikaw naman ang super swerteng jackpot winner, dalhin lamang ang inyong winning ticket at 2 valid IDs sa PCSO Main Office, Shaw Boulevard, Mandaluyong City. Tandaan lamang, may 1 taon kayo mula sa petsa ng inyong pagkapanalo para makapag-claim ng inyong premyo. To all the winners, congratulations po!
Oy, kapatid, gusto mo ba na yumaman? Takbo na sa malapit na lutuhan. Simple lang naman ang iyong kailangan. 20 na lang ulit ang ating puhunan. Ito ay laro na galing sa puso. Nakatulong ka pa sa kapatao. Balik loto sa mababang presyo. May pag-asa makamit ang pangarap mo.
Maraming nagtatanong tungkol sa loto.
Maliban sa 20 pesos, swerte ang puhunan para maging instant milyonaryo. Oportunidad at pagkakataon ay di mabilang para makamit ang swerte. Tunay na pinagkakatiwalaan sa anumang sulok ng mundo. Ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Sugod na sa mga Lotto outlets at bumili ng mga tickets ninyo. Para sa bayan, PCSO laging nandyan. Araw-araw, let's play Lotto!
Sulit na naman po ang araw nyo bukas dahil sa jam-packed games natin. Samahan nyo kami muli sa ating 2 p.m., 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. draws. Ang games natin, nandyan syempre ang 2D Lotto at 3D Lotto. At dahil Tuesday bukas, nandyan po ang 6D Lotto. Lotto 642 with an estimated jackpot of 20 million pesos. Andyan din po ang Super Lotto 649 with 15.8 million pesos. At sa Ultra Lotto 658, 62 million pesos.
And that's all for tonight. Para po sa PCSO, Queenie Balita Aranas.
Ako po si Eric Gimson. Stay safe and healthy para sa bagong Pilipinas.
Limampung taon ng tapat na pagsiservisyo. Kailanman, kahit saan, para sa bayan. Reaching the Filipino from every corner of the country via terrestrial TV. In Luzon, PTV 8 Cordillera, PTV 4 Manila, PTV 4 Palawan, and PTV 4 Naga. PTV 11 Cebu, PTV 2 Guimaras, PTV 10 Dumaguete, PTV 12 Calbayog, and PTV 8 Tacloban. And in Mindanao, PTV 11 Pagadian, PTV 11 Sibugay, PTV 11 Davao, PTV 8 Agusan del Sur, PTV 8 Cotabato, PTV 7 Zamboanga, and PTV 48 Davao del Norte. And through the power of 6 digital transmitting stations, PTV 14 Manila, PTV 42 Cordillera, PTV 46 Naga, PTV 42 Cebu, PTV 23 Guimaras, and PTV 45 Davao. Connecting with the rest of the world in the era of digital technology. Through the power of television and our extensive online network, we continue crossing borders to serve the timeless news and information, bridging public service through innovative programs, fostering pride in the Filipino, and inspiring the people to be active partners in nation building. Noon hanggang ngayon, kasama mong naglilingkod. PTV.
Susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Tonight's top stories. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. convenes a special command conference and directs the Philippine Coast Guard to investigate China's latest aggression in the West Philippine Sea. Several countries, including the U.S., Japan, Australia, and the European Union, condemned China Coast Guard's dangerous maneuvers that resulted in collision with a Philippine vessel on a resupply mission in Ayungin Shoal. The country's gross borrowings dropped 124.06 billion pesos in August from 133.34 billion pesos last year. Foreign deposits surged 106.6% to $7.849 billion in August, compared to $3.798 billion recorded in the same period in 2022. Motorists brace for another round of price hikes in petroleum products to be implemented tomorrow, October 24. Another batch of repatriated Filipinos from Israel arrives in the country today. All these stories and more on PTV News Tonight.
Good evening. Welcome to PTV News Tonight. As the human toll in the war in Gaza and the Holy Land breaches over 6,000 and the Ukraine-Russia battle sees no end in sight. Tensions in the West Philippine Sea are getting more dicey and trickier with the latest encounter between intruding Chinese forces and the Philippine Coast Guard. More than enough reason for the president to call on his national security team for an immediate and highly important huddle that our Kenneth Paciente hashes over in this report.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. immediately called for a command conference after the China Coast Guard vessel collided with the Philippine Marine vessels during the latest rotational and resupply mission in the Ayungin Shoal yesterday. According to Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro Jr., the government will not ignore and let this aggressive action by China slide, as this is clearly a violation of international law, a reason for the country to file an international protest.
China has no legal right or authority to conduct law enforcement operations in our territorial waters and in our exclusive economic zone. We are taking this incident seriously at the highest levels of government.
Following this, the Philippines immediately formally called on officials of the Chinese embassy to condemn the incident.
Chinese Ambassador Huang Xilian has been summoned today by Secretary Enrique Manalo of the Department of Foreign Affairs to condemn the reckless and illegal act of the Chinese government. Likewise, Philippine Ambassador to China, Jaime Flor Cruz, has been instructed to convey the same to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The Philippine Coast Guard will also conduct an investigation on the incident and submit its report to the President in 5 days.
We will focus on determining the extent of damage or damages done or incurred by the vessels involved. But at this point, it is very, very clear that the two incidents are violations of collision regulations, the very regulation we Coast Guards are expected to enforce. So we find it unfortunate or ironic that a fellow Coast Guard will violate the law.
The DND also said it appears to be sarcastic that China had a discussion on the WPS Code of Conduct 1 day after the incident, in which they obviously violated international law as well as the jurisdiction of the Philippine territory.
What kind of message is this signaling? I want to know. And we deserve undistorted answers, the truth, from the government of China. Because once again, we repeat, they have neither jurisdiction nor authority to conduct any sort of governmental operations within our 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. And no justification they can give will stand the test of credence.
Meanwhile, the National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea said the Philippines will not be deterred by China's aggressive actions and will continue to insist its rights in the region.
That is a clear and unequivocal message being sent by the Philippines to China that we do not, accept what is happening.
The usual group of countries again expressed support for the Philippines following the incident. In the statement issued by the U.S. State Department, it said that China violated international law with its action against the Philippines' legitimate operations in the region. They also insist it is possible to activate the Mutual Defense Treaty when an armed attack is unleashed against the Philippines. But the Philippine Foreign Affairs says the government needs to study whether it is time to declare and activate the MDT against China. Aside from the US, Canada, the Netherlands, Australia, Japan, and the European Union have also expressed support for the Philippines, a thing the government is grateful for. Kenneth Pasyente for The Nation.
The Philippine Coast Guard, which was at the scene of the latest action in the high seas encounter with Chinese Coast Guard ship, is downplaying the tension portrayed by media reporting, citing the seriousness of the encounter is way below alarming or critical level for now. A surprising declaration in today's Senate hearing on the latest near skirmish between the Philippines and Chinese Coast Guards, as detailed by our Daniel Manalastas in this report.
Solicitor General Menardo Guevara rebutted China's blame game over the collision incident in the Ayungin Shoal.
That's from their point of view, no? We cannot stop them from thinking that way. But we Filipinos, we all know who's doing the provocation. The EEZ belongs to us. That's we have sovereignty or sovereign rights and jurisdiction over the EEZ. Yung nangyari within our EEZ, where we have jurisdiction.
In light of the collision incident, the Philippine Coast Guard believes the proposed establishment of maritime zones will be beneficial.
With respect with the incident that happened in the Ayungin Shoal, which falls within the exclusive economic zone of our country, I think the passage of a maritime zone would clearly strengthen our defined zones in our maritime jurisdiction, sir.
They clarified that the tension in the West Philippine Sea is not increasing.
I think it's wrong to say that the tension in the West Philippine Sea is increasing. I would always tell this to the public, that the only reason why there are a lot of news that is being publicized in the past months since we started the Transparency Initiative last February, it's because the national government is allowing the public to be aware of what's happening.
Senators condemned the collision incident. Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri called on China's Coast Guard to respect human lives and abide by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and other international laws. Senator Francis Tolentino, meanwhile, believes that China is particularly liable in the incident.
Sinasadya na yun. Hindi naman pwedeng dalawang insidente sa minor collision sa isang araw. Yung damage doon sa barko, sa yun na May 2, Inaiza May 2. So yung sira doon sa barko, yung pwedeng maging liable sila doon, plus the civil damages that can probably be secured by the crew. Yung stress, yung psychological difficulties during that moment na binangga sila. So, yun siguro. They can file a case.
Senator J.V. Ejercito called out the reckless maneuvers executed by the CCG, which resulted in a collision with a vessel of the Philippine Armed Forces, saying that these acts were not only provocative, but also a blatant act of bullying. Daniel Manalastas for The Nation.
As the days go on and with the continuing harassment experienced by our Coast Guard, the Philippines is gaining more allies. One of the most recent to openly throw support to the country regarding the territorial dispute with China is Canada, that has long been one of the nation's most trusted allies. Luisa Erispe has more.
The great nation of Canada has pledged its unwavering support to the Philippines during the launching of Friendship Week 2023. Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines David Hartman said there has been a long-standing good relationship between Canada and Philippines. That's why there is no doubt Canada supports the country in the territorial dispute in the West Philippine Sea. The embassy also condemns the acts of China, including the recent collision between China's Coast Guard and the Philippine Coast Guard vessel of Ayungin Shoal during a rotational and resupply mission yesterday.
Unfortunately, given the series of events that have taken place over the last number of months, pretty clear, pretty vocal. We have been right at the forefront, I think, in the defense of the Philippines' sovereignty, of your territorial interests, and of your rights, and we will continue to do so.
On the plans of the Philippines to file a case against China with the Arbitral Tribunal for Environmental Damages, Canada believes the Philippines deserves to have jurisdiction on its territorial waters, as provided or cited in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS.
It is of paramount importance to Canada to defend our partners, our friends, and our allies in defense of your sovereignty. Canada, like the Philippines, is a country that is bound by and respects vehemently, assiduously, the rules-based international order. We've been clear about that. Our stance is clear, and we will be prepared to do whatever is necessary to help support our friends here in the Philippines.
Previously, Canada signed an agreement with the Philippines giving us the opportunity to use the dark vessel detection system. This will allow the Coast Guard to monitor vessels without its automatic identification system, which is what China has been doing within our territorial waters to avoid detection by the Philippine Coast Guard. Meanwhile, Canada's support doesn't end with the West Philippine Sea. During Friendship Week, Canada announced it will be opening more construction and mechanical jobs to Filipinos. Also, they will work hand in hand with the Department of Migrant Workers to stop illegal recruitment in Canada.
Marami tayong nakikita online, no? Na mga recruitment activities, mga kampanya tungkol sa pagpunta sa Canada, no? At marami rin tayong natatanggap ng mga reklamo, mga complaints mula sa ating mga kababayan. Ito ang opportunity upang ang ating mga kababayan, hindi lamang sa Pilipinas, kundi all over the world, ay magkaroon ng access sa tamang information patungkol sa tamang way ng pagpunta sa Canada.
Luisa Erispe for The Nation.
Data from the Bureau of Treasury shows government borrowings went down in August with fewer loans from local lenders availed of. The Marcos administration's borrowing went down 124.06 billion pesos, which is lower by 7% than the 133.34 billion pesos record in the same period of last year. The Treasury Bureau said the primary reason for the decrease is the reduced borrowings from the domestic market.
The S&P Global Ratings reported the country's banks are expected to sustain its profitability despite the slower economic growth brought about by external and domestic headwinds. The American credit rating agency said the return on average assets of the Philippine banks would be sustained at around 1.4% next year and in 2025. Meanwhile, the credit losses of country's banks are likely to remain at 0.6% of total loans in 2024 and 2025.
State-owned Land Bank of the Philippines posted an all-time high net income of 31.85 billion pesos in the first 9 months of the year. Such earnings during the period was higher by 24% than the 25.7 billion pesos reported in 2022. Meanwhile, Land Bank launched OptiSaver, a new deposit product with tiered interest rates, which aims to provide optimal interest rates for customers while giving them access to their deposits.
The Department of Trade and Industry partnered with the Monetary Authority of Singapore and Proxterra to hold the Financial Fitness Fair 2023 this week to empower micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs, to compete in the global marketplace. This event, scheduled tomorrow, October 24 until the 25th, aims to provide tools, knowledge, resources, and opportunities MSMEs need to thrive in today's global economy. The financial fair also features various vital courses such as foundational financial literacy, global financial literacy, and green financing.
Petroleum companies have announced yet another oil price hike effective Tuesday, October 24. According to oil companies, an additional 1 peso and 30 centavos will be added to each liter of diesel by Shell, Sea Oil, Clean Fuel, Caltex, Petrogas, Jetty, and PTT. Gasoline and kerosene costs will also increase by 95 centavos per liter and 1 peso and 25 centavos respectively. According to the Department of Energy, oil price adjustments are due to the effect of the ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza, the reduction in the stockpile of crude oil of the United States, and the increase in domestic demand of oil in China.
Locally assembled vehicle sales in September 2023 increased by 9.5% compared to the previous year, reaching 38,628 units. The growth was driven by a 19.8% increase in passenger car sales, while commercial vehicle sales rose by 6.5%. The industry group aims to achieve 423,000 unit sales this year, including sales of imported vehicles. Toyota remains the top-selling brand in the country, followed by Mitsubishi, Ford, Nissan, and Suzuki. Campi president expects the positive consumer outlook to continue in the fourth quarter, indicating a strong recovery for the auto industry in 2023.
The Department of Trade and Industry is considering the establishment of economic zones dedicated to the manufacturing of electric vehicles, or EVs, and their components. The zones will house EV-related manufacturing firms such as parts manufacturers and assembly to create a cluster that would facilitate faster logistics. The government plans to incentivize the manufacture of 4 million EV units in the next 10 years and is focusing on the manufacture of commercial EVs through a program similar to the Comprehensive Automotive Resurgence Strategy, or CARS program. The aim is to build the country's automotive manufacturing capacity and capabilities for flagship commercial EV models. Incentives would also be provided to EV battery manufacturers. Up next, Singapore records the lowest core inflation rate since March 2022. More details following. Some important reminders. Don't go away.
Saan mapapanood ang PTV?
Sa bawat sulok ng Pilipinas,
Reaching millions of Filipinos across the country through the power of terrestrial TV.
Abot na abot namin ang mga Pilipino para sa tapat na balita at impormasyon.
Dito'y Cordillera, kan Intero ang Luzon. Da kami, di mapangnamnamaan.
Sa aton sa Visayas, wala kami mapugong sa pagpaabot sa unsang hitabo.
Dini sa saad ng yuta, Mindanao, PTV, pirmi maminaw para sa paghatod sa balita.
Broadcasting in Luzon, PTV4 Manila, PTV8 Cordillera, PTV4 Naga, and PTV4 Palawan. In the Visayas, PTV11 Cebu, PTV10 Dumaguete, PTV2 Guimaras, PTV8 Tacloban, and PTV12 Calbayog. And in the heart of Mindanao, PTV11 Davao City, PTV8 Cotabato, PTV7 Zamboanga, PTV11 Sibugay, PTV11 Pagadian, PTV48 Davao del Norte, and PTV8 Agusan del Sur. PTV Regional Network, buong katapatang naghahatid ng balitang maaasahan para sa inyong pambansang TV. Pagpati sa mga programa at personalidad ng People's Television. Chi Atienza Valdepeñas, Diane Medina, Audrey Coriseta, Fifi de los Santos, at Rise and Shine Pilipinas. Ang mga parangal na ito ay alay namin para sa bayan. Pagpatak ng alauna ng hapon, sama-sama tayo tumutok sa sentro ng mga balita bilang mga tagapaghatid nyo ng tapat at napapanahong impormasyon. Kasama sina Audrey Coriseta, Naomi Tiburcio, at Angelique Lazo. Sentro Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alauna ng hapon. Dito lang sa PTV. Disaster Watch. Alamin ang heavy rainfall warning system ng Pag-asa. Yellow rainfall warning. Maghanda sa posibleng pagbaha sa mga mabababang lugar at tabing baybayin. Pinapayuhan ang lahat na mag-monitor ng mga weather update sa inyong lugar. Orange rainfall warning. Mas malawak na pagbaha ang inaasahan at posibleng magka-landslide sa mga tabing bundok. Bumuo ng isang emergency kit at maghandang lumikas sa anumang sandali. Red rainfall warning. Inaasahan ang matinding buhos ng ulan sa loob ng 2 oras na magdudulot ng malawakang pagbaha at landslide. Para sa inyong kaligtasan, lumikas agad ang mga nasa mabababang lugar, baybayin at tabing bundok. Sa panahon ng kalamidad, dapat laging listo.
The Marcos administration believes that although the president's visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was short, it was productive based on all the positive results it yielded. The Philippine delegation was able to secure some $120 million of signed business deals, while also getting $4.2 billion worth of business agreements. While during the bilateral agreement between President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the deepening of relations between the two countries was discussed. Also, the two leaders talked about the unpaid salaries of some 10,000 former OFWs who were displaced when the respective companies in Saudi went bankrupt between 2015 to 2016.
Confident that once we get it operationalized, once we are able to start talking in detail with not only the investment funds, but even private corporations and other governments as well. And that is precisely the role that we have envisioned for the sovereign fund, the Maharlika Fund, and that is what the direction that it has taken.
The greenback remains stable while the yen weakened briefly to the 150 to the dollar level. Investors are awaiting events like the European Central Bank meeting and the release of U.S. GDP data, as well as the Federal Reserve's inflation gauge to transpire. Also, the possibility that the Israel-Hamas conflict could escalate is keeping markets on edge. In the meantime, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has announced plans to implement bold economic measures in an attempt to boost his declining public support. These measures include income tax cuts for households affected by inflation and tax breaks for companies to encourage investment. Kishida aims to shift the economy from one focus on low costs and cost cutting to one driven by sustainable wage increases and active investment. He also plans to help people cope with rising prices by the implementation of income tax cuts and the introduction of corporate tax incentives to promote wage increases, investment, and optimization. He eyes to announce a new economic stimulus package by the end of the month.
The EU Tax Observatory suggests that governments around the world impose a global minimum tax on billionaires, which could raise tax collection to $250 billion annually. The amount, if actually collected, is only 2% of the almost $13 trillion for wealth owned by the 2,700 billionaires worldwide. Billionaires, the group stated, are actually chipping in often far less personal tax than an individual of more modest means. Singapore's core inflation rate decreased to 3% year-on-year in September, down from 3.4% in August. The decline was driven by lower inflation in food, retail, and other goods. Core inflation had reached a 14-year high of 5.5% in January and February before trending downwards. Overall inflation increased slightly to 4.1% in September. The Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Monetary Authority of Singapore expected core inflation to continue moderating in the coming months due to low imported costs and easing domestic labor market tightness. However, there are upside risks from global energy and food commodity prices and persistent tightness in the domestic labor market.
And here are the results of tonight's multi-million peso lotto draws from the PCSO.
Good evening, Lotto players. For those who missed our draws today, October 23, 2023, I'll be doing a recap of the winning numbers. Let's start with the results of the 2 p.m. draw. For the 2D Lotto, we have 12 and 28 in exact order. And for the 3D Lotto, we have 9, 4, and 5 in exact order. And the results of the 5 p.m. draw. For the 2D Lotto, the winning combination is 21 and 26 in exact order. And for the 3D Lotto, we have 3, 5, and 5 in exact order. And finally, the results of the 9 p.m. draw. For the 2D Lotto, we have 31 and 10 in exact order. For the 3D Lotto, we have the numbers 8, 3, and 7 in exact order. For the 4D Lotto, we have 0, 1, 5, and 3 in exact order. For the Mega Lotto 645, in any order, the winning numbers are 22, 8, 42, 3, 12, and 27 with a jackpot prize of 25,357,348 pesos and 40 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. And for the Grand Lotto 655, in any order, 54, 49, 42, 39, 19, and 35 with a jackpot prize of 47,013,053 pesos and 80 centavos net of the agent's prize commission. May jackpot winners ba tayo tonight? Ayon po sa PCSO Data Center sa Mega Lotto 645, we do not have a jackpot winner. At sa Grand Lotto 655, no jackpot winner. That's all for tonight. I'm Eric Imson for the PCSO Lottery Draw Recap. Thank you. Good night.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP's foreign currency and deposits have totaled to 7.85 billion pesos so far. The figure is more than twice the $3.8 billion recorded last year. Foreign currency reserves are assets that can be converted by the BSP if it so wishes.
The local stock market ended the day weak with all sectoral gauges starting this week in the negative territory. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index plunged 54.46 points or 0.89%, closing at 6,088.44, while all shares slid 26.36 points or 0.79%, finishing at 3,303.06. The biggest drop came from financials, down by 1.73%. Total volume traded amounted to 551 million, valued at 3.302 billion pesos. Losers advanced gainers at 123 to 50, with 55 counters unchanged.
We'll now give you the latest buzz here in our Pop Culture Corner. First up, EXO member Chan Yol is set to hold another Manila fan meeting event. A clothing brand announced the upcoming fan meeting will be held on December 16 at the Mall of Asia Arena. The K-pop singer is the newest brand ambassador of the homegrown clothing brand. Princess of Pop, Britney Spears, is set to hit the bestseller list with her tell-all memoir. The highly anticipated memoir, The Woman in Me, is already topping the pre-sale chart at Amazon US, which is scheduled to release tomorrow, October 24. The publishing company Simon & Schuster reportedly paid more than $15 million for the rights.
The The shear line will be affecting weather conditions over the eastern sections of central and southern Luzon. Based on Pag-asa's update, this weather system will be bringing cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Bicol Region, Cagayan, Isabela, Quirino, and Nueva Vizcaya. Meanwhile, the northeast monsoon will prevail over Batanes, the Babuyan Islands, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and the Ilocos Region. And let's find out what the weather will be like in key Philippine and Asian cities.
Coming up, lesser flight delays expected on BSKE and Undas Exodus. Stay tuned. PTV News Tonight will be right back.
Healthwatch, alertong pangkalusugan. Mag-ingat sa dengue. Ang dengue ay isang viral infection na nagmumula sa kagat ng lamok na Aedes, na sanhi din ng iba pang sakit gaya ng Zika virus at chikungunya. Ito ay nagdudulot ng mataas na lagnat, pamamantal, pananakit ng kasukasuan at kalamnan, panghihina, pagdurugo ng ilong, at pagsusuka at pagdurumi na may kasamang dugo. Ang mga sintomas ay karaniwang nagtatagal mula 2 hanggang 7 araw. Sa unang senyales ng dengue, kumonsulta agad sa doktor. Uminom ng maraming tubig at magpahinga at inumin ang mga gamot na nireseta. Iwasan din ang pag-inom ng aspirin at ibuprofen at ikonsulta muna sa inyong doktor kung iinom ng herbal o alternative medicine. Tandaan, ang kalinisan ang pinakamabisa nating panlaban sa dengue. Sa panahon ng sakit, dapat laging listo.
Impormasyon ang bisa at lakas para sa isang bagong Pilipinas. Ang buwan ng Oktubre ay buwan ng komunikasyon. Sa panahon ngayon ng digital media, mahalagang maibigay sa bawat Pilipino ang totoo, wasto at tapat na impormasyon upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng fake news. Kaya mga kababayan, maging mapanuri sa pagkonsumo ng balita. Siguraduhin lehitimo ang source ng impormasyong nakukuha. Palaging mag-fact check at huwag itong basta-basta i-share, lalo na kung ang source ay kahina-hinala. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa PTV ngayong buwan ng komunikasyon.
The demise of the youngest and smallest among us are the ones felt hardest and the heaviest to bear. And in Gaza, where children comprise half of the entire Palestinian population, the collateral damage count among kids has hit roughly 1,800, or approximately 1 child killed in nearly every 15 minutes, as Israel's bombardment enters its 16th day. And with deaths ranging from 250 to 400 a day over the last few days, Palestinian parents have seen it fit to write the names of their children on their arms and legs for identification in the event they wind up buried in the rubble or seriously defaced and hard to identify. And those whose kids end up dead in the carnage are rushed by their parents for quick interment and burial with barely time to mourn. The bombardment of Gaza has proceeded without respite, despite calls from the United Nations, Amnesty International, and the rest of the planet for a ceasefire.
Meanwhile, the third batch of mostly home helpers and a handful of hotel workers from the Holy Land, all traumatized or emotionally distressed, made it back home today on schedule. The financial assistance and other assistance they are to receive from government, plus the ordeal of homegrown migrant workers still stuck in Gaza, narrated by our Luisa Erispe in this report.
Another batch of Filipino repatriates from Israel has arrived in the Philippines this afternoon. This is the third batch of Filipinos, consisting of 25 individuals and 1 infant.
This is the batch na pinakamaraming hotel workers percentage-wise, no? And then meron pa tayong napipintong future batches. Meron pa tayo natatanggap ng mga requests for repatriation.
The Department of Migrant Workers said most of them are caregivers and hotel workers. For Teresita and Gerald, their memories of sad and disturbing events have kept them traumatized, and they consider themselves so lucky to be able to escape from the turmoil.
Napanood na namin yung mabalita na gano'n na nga, ang dami na nga namamatay, nakakaawa, may mga Pilipino, may mga ibang lahi din po, may mga ibang lahi na, ayun na, nadami na nga, kasi wala na silang pinipili, magsabata, magsamatanda, wala na silang minasakit na nila lahat. Nakakaawa, pero at least kami, nandun kami, nagtatago lang kami doon.
Narinig ko yung yung red alert. Sabi ko, ano ba yung cellphone mo? Napakaingay. Ano ba yung ringtone mo? Nakakatakot. Tapos ang dami-daming alert. Tapos ang tiningnan ko, sobrang daming bombang pumasok. So after few minutes, ayun na, nag-siren na yung buong Tel Aviv, nag-sirena na. We need to hide ourselves. So from that day on, guys, tuloy-tuloy yun. Tuloy-tuloy yun na almost every day. Wala kaming peace of mind. Kasi kahit saang area ka ng Israel, from time to time, makakarinig ka ng sirena.
The Philippines will hand them assistance in cash amounting to 135,000 pesos to help them restart their lives after leaving their previous employments abroad. 50,000 will come from the OWA and DMW, 20,000 from the DSWD and cash and food subsidy, and 15,000 for livelihood assistance. According to the DMW, in total, they have sent home 60 Filipinos from Israel, and there are 100 more awaiting to be brought back, with 2 more still reportedly missing. Meanwhile, in Lebanon, the Department of Migrant Workers has arranged a task force to assist Filipinos affected by the pronouncement of the Alert Level 3. As of now, there are hundreds of Filipinos needing assistance. The DMW promised to arrange voluntary repatriation, similar with the efforts in Israel, and that the embassy in Beirut has assured the safety of all the Filipinos there.
Nagtayo po tayo ng isang task force na kung saan may kaugnayan po ito sa pakikipag-usap natin doon sa mga kasama po natin sa Lebanon. No? Handa po ang ating government sa pagbibigay ng mga kakailanganing tulong. At handa po tayong i-repatriate po sila. May mga tinatawag na pong mga evacuation routes at yun po ang susundin natin. Binigay na po natin yung mga paraan, yung mga proseso sa ating mga kababayan para maging maayos po ang lahat.
Luisa Erispe for The Nation.
The police force is all set. The Army raring to go, and the hundreds of thousands of school teachers who will run the polls are prepped for next Monday's big event. Our Patrick De Jesus runs down the numbers and hashes over more details on the village and youth council polls next Monday in this report.
187,600 cops from the Philippine National Police, more than 100,000 soldiers from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, 30,000 Philippine Coast Guard personnel, and more than 400,000 DepEd teaching and non-teaching personnel. All in all, they comprise the peace and order personnel to be deployed to ensure a safe and orderly 2023 barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan election. A send-off and turnover ceremony was held earlier at Camp Crame, after which they will under COMELEC supervision and command. In latest data, 361 barangays are under red category. But the categorization is not the basis of the deployment, as COMELEC said that the focus will be on all areas.
Hindi po nakabase lang dahil doon sa categorization sapagkat siyempre araw-araw kasi nagbabago yung categorization ng bawat lugar, bawat barangay dito sa ating bansa. Kung kaya naman nakita niyo yung pagtaas mula sa 242, biglang naging 361, lalo na sa Bangsamoro, biglang nagkaroon ng pagtaas na 119 na mga barangays na nadagdag dyan. Meron din nadagdag sa Region 8 at may nadagdag din sa Region 5.
The provinces of Negros Oriental and Libon Albay have been placed under COMELEC control after incidents of violence. In crimes related to elections, the number of validated reports is now at 22, which is 45% lower compared to the last 2018 BSKE, or 18% fewer than in the 2022 national elections. The PNP hopes No further cases will be added with the election exactly a week away.
Kung tataas man siguro, hopefully kukunti na lang. Sana. That's our projection. And if you are going to compare it with the previous elections, mukhang pababa naman. Sana nga tuloy-tuloy na.
The PNP also assures it is on top of the situation in Abra, where 250 candidates reportedly backed out.
There are various reasons. First, nagkaroon ng agreement between the elders or from among the elders for them to withdraw. Meron din yung baka kulang sila sa mga panggastos during the campaign period, and yung they might be threatened. So these are the various reasons that has yet to be validated.
Abra is under yellow category, but the PNP, with the assistance of the COMELEC, is ready to take action, particularly on alleged threats reported by these candidates. Meanwhile, the COMELEC said it will issue a resolution ordering the proclamation of a winning candidate be suspended if violation of the election rules and regulations is proven. Patrick De Jesus, for the Nation.
The Manila International Airport Authority is confident airline companies will be able to maintain their on-time performance, or OTP, for the upcoming long weekend, or Undas 2023. Last month, airline companies achieved an 80% OTP, matching the high recorded in March. In October, the OTP improved further to 82.38% from the 13,519 flights that operated in NAIA in the first 18 days of the month. This indicates that majority of flights departed and arrived within 15 minutes of scheduled time, meeting international standards. MIA officer in charge Brian Ko expressed optimism the OTP will be sustained as they have prepared for the influx of passengers during the long weekend. The objective is to minimize crowding by ensuring timely dispatch of flights.
Supposed whistleblower Jefferson Tumbado admitted during a lower house hearing of having no evidence to prove of existing corruption in the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB. Tumbado says he only based his allegations on the complaints he heard from several transport operators. He also admitted that he implicated LTFRB Chair Teofisto Guadis III in the corruption issue because he holds a grudge against him for his reassignment to another office. Guadis was also present in the hearing and turned emotional in reacting to what he said was a wrongful accusation against him.
The Walang Gutom 2027 food stamp program will be implemented in 2024, according to the Department of Social Welfare and Development. The Department of Budget and Management has committed to providing the necessary budget for the program. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has issued an executive order establishing the FSP as a flagship program. The FSP aims to provide food augmentation to the bottom 1 million households who belong to food poor criteria.
In news overseas, even with Hamas still firing rockets towards Israel, the European Union Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell urged for more and quicker aid to the ravaged city of Gaza, while a debate mulling a humanitarian pause forthwith in the bombing is up for discussion by the 27 EU foreign ministers on Thursday or Friday. Ireland is the latest EU nation to call for an immediate ceasefire as Israel's continued bombardment of Gaza has upped the body count to roughly 4,650, close to 40% of which are 1,800 children casualties. The trucks carrying much-needed food, water, and medical supplies finally got the green light from Egypt to enter the Rafah border crossing over the weekend. Only 37 rigs or 18-wheeler trucks have made it so far. A drop in the ocean, considering more than 400 trucks still hold up outside the border crossing, and roughly 1 million displaced Palestinians in dire need of these essentials. The debate for a humanitarian ceasefire among the 27 European Union foreign ministers is expected to draw a sharp contrast between the for and against countries, with those in favor of a ceasefire having a slim edge right now. Meanwhile, the United States has made it clear it is in full backup of Israel in its raging war against the Hamas extremist group in Gaza, with tensions rising from Arab nations, in particular Iran-backed Hezbollah and the nation of Iran itself. America has deployed 2 aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean to serve as deterrents and to escalate actions if need be, as VOA's Veronica Balderas Iglesias reports.
As Israeli forces prepare for the next stages of their war against the militant Palestinian group Hamas, concerns of it becoming a wider conflict haven't subsided. In that context, the United States announced additional deployments of air defense systems to the region. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin explained the move on ABC's This Week show.
Recently, we've seen rocket and UAV attacks against bases housing our troops in Iraq and Syria. We maintain the right to defend ourselves, and we won't hesitate to take the appropriate action.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who recently toured the region, emphasized that the boost in U.S. military presence is a deterrent measure. He was interviewed on NBC's Meet the Press.
We don't want to see a second or third front develop. We don't want to see our forces or our personnel come under fire. But if that happens, we're ready for it.
On the humanitarian front, Turkey became one of the latest countries to send aid for Palestinian civilians. But the flow of convoys carrying supplies across Egypt's Rafah crossing into Gaza has been too slow, said Cindy McCain, the executive director of the UN World Food Program, in an interview with ABC.
We were able to feed about 200,000 people last night during dinner. But that's not enough. That's a drop. People are starving, but also this is a national security issue for everyone in this region.
With the stakes so high in the Middle East, it's imperative that the Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives elect a speaker, said the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Republican Michael McCaul. He spoke on ABC about the deadlock to fill the seat that has remained vacant since Kevin McCarthy was ousted at the beginning of October.
The world's on fire, and this is so dangerous what we're doing. And most importantly, it's embarrassing because it empowers and emboldens our adversaries.
Despite the urgency, McCaul acknowledged that he doesn't know if a speaker will be elected this coming week or how the process will play out. Veronica Balderas Iglesias, VOA News, Washington.
In the meantime, here's a recap of today's lottery draws. For the 2 p.m. draw, the winning numbers for the 3D Lotto are 9, 4, 5, and 1228 for 2D Lotto. For the 5 p.m. draw, the lucky numbers for the 3D Lotto are 3, 5, 5, and 2126 for 2D Lotto. For the 9 p.m. draw, beginning with the 4D Lotto, the winning numbers are 0, 1, 5, and 3, while the lucky numbers for the 3D Lotto are 8, 3, 7, and 3110 for 2D Lotto. For the Grand Lotto 655 with a jackpot prize of 47,013,053 pesos and 80 centavos, the lucky numbers are 54, 49, 42, 39, 19, and 35. For the Mega Lotto 645, the winning numbers are 22, 8, 42, 3, 12, and 27, with a jackpot prize of 25,357,348 pesos and 40 centavos. There are no winners for the Mega Lotto 645 and Grand Lotto 655. Tonight's Food for the Mind comes from the 26th President of the United States, considered as the first modern president, Theodore Roosevelt. And he once said, "The only man who never makes mistakes is the man who never does anything." I absolutely agree with this. If you are super comfortable and you get complacent, that ends up being your comfort zone. But if you decide to take a step outside into your courage zone, then I know that is the zone where great things happen and you learn your own possibilities. William?
Yes, I agree. And also, as they say, there's no instruction book in life. So having said that, you will make your mistakes. We learn from experience, and the important thing is that we just don't do it again. Monique?
Totally agree with the quote, and with you guys, you have to risk it for the biscuit. You basically just have to go there and be bold. And what's the shame in doing that? At least you're learning.
And there are now only 63 days left before Christmas. And so goes PTV News Tonight's roundup of tomorrow's headline stories. I'm Shorms Espina.
I'm Monique Tuzon.
And I'm William Theo. Join us again tomorrow on PTV News Tonight.
Impormasyon ang bisa at lakas para sa isang bagong Pilipinas. Ang buwan ng Oktubre ay buwan ng komunikasyon. Sa panahon ngayon ng digital media, mahalagang maibigay sa bawat Pilipino ang totoo, wasto at tapat na impormasyon upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng fake news. Kaya mga kababayan, maging mapanuri sa pagkonsumo ng balita. Siguraduhin lehitimo ang source ng impormasyong nakukuha. Palaging mag-fact check at huwag itong basta-basta i-share, lalo na kung ang source ay kahina-hinala. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa PTV ngayong buwan ng komunikasyon.
Susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Pleasant greetings, y'all. Proud Filipina Sharms Espina here. And thinking how the balance of power on the planet has gradually shifted from the U.S. versus the USSR to America against China since the end of the Cold War in the onset of the 90s. The breakup of the Soviet republics in the time of Yeltsin and China's steady rise to economic prosperity and military might be the result of Deng Xiaoping's policy of embracing capitalism, along with socialism, put Beijing as the true superpower challenger to America's global dominance. And China, though, has caught up and is closing the gap. America has had an ace up its sleeve to keep China looking from behind. Its uncanny ability to forge alliances that is in full display here in the Indochina region in Southeast Asia. VOA's Inside Story examines this power dynamic in today's offering, Hedging Against China.
This week on the Inside Story, VOA travels with President Biden to the G20 summit in New Delhi and his historic visit to Hanoi, and with Vice President Harris to the U.S., ASEAN, and East Asia summits in Jakarta. From Indonesia, India, and Vietnam, we focus on increased U.S. engagement in the Indo-Pacific as a hedge against China. Plus, a pool reporter harassed by Indonesian officials, and the White House cries foul. Now, on the Inside Story, Hedging Against China.
From Jakarta, Indonesia, I'm Patsy Midakuswara, VOA White House Bureau Chief.
I traveled here with Vice President Kamala Harris to attend the ASEAN Summit with leaders of Southeast Asian nations and the East Asia Summit with leaders of the Indo-Pacific. It's a series of trips that Harris and President Joe Biden made in September to assert U.S. presence in the region and hedge against China's growing influence. In this episode, we'll also take you to India, where my colleague Anita Powell traveled with Biden for the G20 summit in New Delhi, followed by a historic visit to Hanoi, where the U.S. upgraded bilateral ties, providing Vietnam with additional weight to balance relations with Beijing. In Jakarta, Harris reaffirmed U.S. commitment to ASEAN centrality, the principle that regional engagements must be driven by the 11-country bloc, not by great powers. But there is no question that here, too, geopolitical rivalry is front and center.
Amid sharpened geopolitical rivalry between the United States, China, and Russia, Indonesian President Joko Widodo warned against protracted conflicts. He delivered a forceful call to leaders to ease tensions and underscored the region's need for stability to continue its decades-long peace and prosperity.
Saya betul-betul minta
I implore all leaders of East Asian countries to make the East Asia Summit Forum a place to strengthen collaboration, a place to strengthen cooperation rather than sharpen rivalry.
The summit brings together the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, and 8 of its partners. Leaders of the U.S., China, and Russia chose to skip, sending instead their respective representatives, Vice President Kamala Harris, Premier Li Qiang, and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Harris and Lee held separate meetings with ASEAN, each highlighting the strength of their countries' ties with the bloc.
The United States has an enduring commitment to Southeast Asia and more broadly to the Indo-Pacific.
Over the past 10 years, China and ASEAN have forged ahead, hand in hand, and contributed to each other's successes.
Summit leaders focus on the global impact of the war on Ukraine, the threat of North Korea's nuclear program, China's increasing assertiveness over disputed areas in the South China Sea, and ASEAN's inability to urge the junta in Myanmar to abide by its peace plan.
The conflict is exacerbating existing inequalities and vulnerabilities faced by women and girls, including sexual violence, forced marriage, and human trafficking.
EAS ended Harris' 3-day trip to Jakarta. She returns to Washington as President Joe Biden heads for the G20 in New Delhi, India.
I was delighted to travel here with Vice President Kamala Harris to Jakarta, where I was born and raised. I may just be the first Indonesian to fly home on Air Force Two, definitely a proud immigrant moment for me. Now let's go to New Delhi, where my colleague Anita Powell traveled with President Joe Biden to the G20 summit, a meeting of leaders of the world's 20 largest economies.
India is a rising power and a key geopolitical balancer between the U.S., China, and Russia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government is eager to flex the country's diplomatic muscles as they host the G20 summit here in New Delhi.
The G20 summit was held far from Europe, but it highlighted divisions over the war in Ukraine. Narendra Modi, Indian Prime Minister.
I announced the closing of the G20 summit. I hope the roadmap for one Earth, one family, one future is pleasant.
One family, one future का roadmap सुखद हो.
Russia and China were not represented by their leaders, but by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Premier Li Qiang. Both toughened their stance on the Ukraine war. The divisions were so sharp that many had been skeptical there would even be a summit communique. U.S. President Joe Biden.
There was sufficient agreement in the room on the need for just and lasting peace that upholds the principles of the UN Charter and respects sovereignty and territorial integrity.
But it was a narrow consensus achieved only after host country India suggested softening the language on Ukraine by highlighting the human suffering and impact of the war, without naming Russia as the aggressor. Kiev criticized the communique, but Moscow called it balanced. Sergei Lavrov, Russian Foreign Minister.
Largely thanks to the consolidated position of the Global South defending its legitimate interests, it was possible to prevent the success of the West's attempt to again Ukrainize the entire agenda to the detriment of discussing the urgent problems of developing countries.
By contrast, there was widespread support for adding the African Union to the G20, making it the second regional bloc to become a permanent member after the European Union. It's part of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's push to give a greater voice to the Global South. Brazil, the group's next chair, is expected to continue the Global South agenda. Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva, Brazilian president.
If we want to make a difference, we have to put the reduction of inequality at the center of international agenda.
While peace remains elusive and geopolitical rivalries persist, leaders put aside differences as they paid respects at a memorial for Mahatma Gandhi, who championed nonviolence during India's independence against the British.
We spoke with the residents of India's capital on their feelings around this historic summit.
We asked them what they'd like to see from the gathering. Many were quick to say, results.
I really wish that we have a takeaway from the G20. When we speak about environmental changes or we speak about human, maybe something good for humanity.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic?
Both.
The most important thing is that what I feel is that trade, on the economic front, we should have very, very good relations. So the trade should increase so that there should be economic prosperity between all the G20 nations, and ease of travel of the people-to-people contact. That is very important. So we should, make it very easy for people within the G20 group to travel to each other's country. This is how we get to know each other.
We asked what they think of the tight security and unusually quiet streets of the capital.
I love the makeover that Delhi's got. I just wonder where the dogs and the beggars have gone, but I'm sure they are in a great place.
And if they feel that India, a proud civilization with a long history, is being taken seriously on the world stage.
I think US is taking India very, very seriously, because at the moment I think they have, because I think it is because of geopolitical also, they have not very good relations with China. So the only option within the South Asia is India. So they have, it's a compulsion.
No, now it's taking India seriously. Initially, I don't think we had so much of say in the world map, I feel.
Top U.S. officials are also here for the event, which they say is a key forum for developed and developing nations alike.
I think it's important to emphasize that the G20 is a prime contributor to the solution of global challenges. We see it as the premier organization that on a global basis is taking on critical challenges facing the global economy and particularly the global South.
From New Delhi, we'll travel to Hanoi, where Biden is set to upgrade U.S. diplomatic ties with Vietnam. This is a historic visit and a really big deal.
Vietnam and the U.S. have had 28 years of diplomatic relations, including 10 years of what's called a comprehensive partnership. The U.S. has wanted to upgrade ties for a few years now, but Vietnam had been hesitant to accept, mainly due to concerns of potential backlash from China. On Sunday in Hanoi, I asked the president when he would next speak with China's leader and whether he was concerned that this was leading to instability.
Anita from VOA.
Well, let me ask you about, you've spent lots of time talking about all the time you spent with President Xi and the importance of leader-to-leader communication, yet you two haven't spoken in 10 months. And I just wonder, are you worried that this is destabilizing the U.S.-China relationship, and what are you going to do about it? And then, if I may, on Ukraine, sir, Kiev is upset that the G20 communique didn't name Russia as the aggressor. Have you managed to rally more support or sympathy across the G20, or is this emerging as a wedge issue?
with the Global South, and does that change your commitment to Ukraine?
It's not a wedge issue with the Global South. It's a wedge issue with Russia, which is present, and with China, which is present, has representation. And and by the way, I am my team, my staff still meets with President Xi's people and his cabinet. In effect, I met with his number 2 person here in India today. So it's not like there's a crisis if I don't personally speak to him. It'd be better if I did. But I think, look, this is not a criticism. It's an observation. He has his hands full right now. He has overwhelming unemployment with his youth. One of the major economic tenets of his plan isn't working at all right now. I'm not happy for him that, but it's not working. So he's trying to figure out, I suspect, I don't know, just like I would, trying to figure out what to do about the particular crisis we're having now. But I don't think it's a crisis relating to conflict between China and the United States. As a matter of fact, I think it's less likely to cause that kind of conflict.
But with China increasingly assertive in its territorial dispute with Hanoi in the South China Sea, Vietnam, a communist country that's aligned with Beijing ideologically, is left with little choice but to diversify its diplomatic ties.
A historic visit by U.S. President Joe Biden, his first since taking office in 2021. The United States and Vietnam are elevating their relationship to that of a comprehensive strategic partnership, Hanoi's highest diplomatic status, as leaders from the 2 former rivals stand side by side.
President Joe Biden and I, on behalf of both countries, have jointly agreed to elevate the relationship between Vietnam and the United States to a comprehensive strategic partnership for peace, cooperation, and sustainable development.
Washington and Hanoi still have disagreements over human rights issues, but China's sweeping territorial claims in the disputed South China Sea have been driving the U.S. and Vietnam closer, according to analysts.
So this isn't about picking the U.S. camp. It's about keeping the U.S. close to maintain balance with China. Vietnam views China on this issue the same way the U.S. does. That is, Vietnam views China as an aggressor, as a coercive, revisionist, rules-breaking power. And so when the U.S. talks about freedom of navigation and the rule of law, Vietnam fully agrees on this issue.
But Biden insisted his Vietnam visit is thus about containing China.
I don't want to contain China. I just want to make sure we have a relationship with China that is on the up and up, squared away. Everybody knows what it's all about.
The U.S. is Vietnam's #1 export market. Biden's visit will also boost trade and investment between the 2 countries as the U.S. tries to build a supply chain that is less reliant on China. Nike Chin, VOA News, Seoul.
Back in Jakarta, there were questions about why Joe Biden skipped the summits and sent Kamala Harris in his place. Indonesians, especially Jakartans, feel a connection with the U.S., partly because former President Barack Obama spent part of his childhood here. However, observers say that Indonesia, the largest economy in ASEAN, is drifting towards China's sphere of influence as the Joko Widodo government places economic diplomacy as its premier foreign policy goal. We spoke with Indonesians on whether they believe the country should align with Beijing or Washington.
Indonesia leans more towards China. I see that we have more cooperation in infrastructure, environment, and economy with them.
On the economy side, objectively, we are dominated by Chinese power. On the other hand, in terms of defense and security, the U.S. and its allies are dominant.
Indonesia should lead ASEAN as the biggest country, even the biggest population in ASEAN. Indonesia should drive ASEAN as the center in the Indo-Pacific region, not linked to US or China.
For more on U.S. engagement in the Indo-Pacific, my colleague Anita Powell spoke with National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby in New Delhi.
I'm going to start with the G20 summit. There's a unity theme, but can you explain to us how the U.S. and these other nations can achieve unity in the absence of two key leaders?
Well, I think you're probably referring to Russia and China and Mr. Putin and President Xi. I would remind that both Russia and China are represented here at the G20 through different levels of staff and different leaders. So they're still here, they're still participants, they're still involved in the discussions, and so we look forward to being able to work through with all members of the G20 some of the key priorities that both Prime Minister Modi and, of course, President Biden has put on this summit. But again, it's important that although President Xi's not here, and that is a disappointment to us, that the Chinese are being represented at a leader level and that they are being participants in these discussions, and that's what the president wants to see.
Can you just run us through the argument that the president is making to G20 countries to rally support for Ukraine?
A big focus of the president today is going to be on economic opportunities and investment in lower and middle income countries. And I know you're probably thinking that doesn't have nothing to do with Ukraine, but it has everything to do with Ukraine. Because the war in Ukraine has put a huge strain on lower and middle income countries when it comes to food security, energy security, inflationary pressure. You can't discount the effect that Mr. Putin's war has had on the global economy. And what the president wants to pursue, and he'll mention the war in Ukraine specifically as he pursues this, are opportunities for these lower middle income countries to be able to pursue investment opportunities and loans for infrastructure development that are high quality, that are transparent.